Audio levels should be okay now. I apologize for that. We got our stream refreshed here. We are back up and running. We should have some follow cams heading out in the near future. Shad is back out there, the legend himself, helping us bring in some of these final finishers. So we will in the waning moments, we will be following finishers in from up near the hospital as they make their way here to downtown Flagstaff and Heritage Square, the finish line of the Cocodona 250. Also the finish line of the Eldon Crest 36 and the Sedona Canyons 125. So we're going to have, I believe, maybe some finishers from a variety of races coming in here. I believe when we left, we had just had a pair of Eldon Crest finishers come in. So we will keep it blocked here as we just get a few things dialed in here in the studio. As I was driving into the studio, I saw our two runners coming down Beaver Street. Who did you say those runners were?
Those two runners that finished on...
Was that Mike and Patricia?
Yeah,
possibly?
Mike and Patricia. Mike Garcia, Patricia Carroll, finishing at the end of the last stream. Congratulations to them for finishing Eldon Crest 36. I felt like we had to sleep fast last night, Matt, because we knew we had to be down here in time. Originally, our plan was to go live at 6, but we hopped on the mics an hour early.
Yeah, and for those of you who maybe are just tuning in or hadn't heard or hadn't looked via the live tracker or heard anywhere, our final runners have left the Eldon Aid Station. So that's pretty amazing to see that all of our runners are making their way down Mount Eldon at this point, and towards the finish line in Heritage Square here.
Yeah, and to be honest, Matt, I'm a little bit surprised at how few runners there are left on course at this point. We've got 5 hours before the cutoff, 5 hours and 4 minutes, and I don't think we're gonna use all of it or even come close. We're looking at, I believe, about a dozen people, give or take. I don't have an exact number in front of me, but it looks like 11 people between the Sedona Canyons 125 and the Cocodona 250, and maybe a couple of people in the Eldon Crest 36 as well.
Yeah, it looked like there were two individuals, Jennifer Slavich and Jamie Yazzie, who have maybe gotten splits at Mount Eldon and are on their way to the finish. So those should be our 2 final Eldon Crest runners, I believe.
Yeah, and to those of you who've been having your own ultra this week, or a Cocodona, thanks for sticking around. After our shift yesterday, Matt, or actually before mine and after yours, we ended up both down there at Heritage Square, and I have to admit it was a great atmosphere to see the runners, the crews, the pacers, the families down there cheering their runners in. I had my first moment where the emotions got the best of me, and that was seeing Desiree Clark finish after what she had gone through on the course. She actually had to be given the green light by medical staff because she had been dealing with some things. Colleen Lingley, our guest host on Aravaipa After Dark last night, expanded upon these things, and to see her hit the finish line and such a strong show of emotion, letting everybody know that she had left all she had out there on the course. It was really something to behold, and I wear sunglasses pretty much everywhere in public for a reason, and that's why I had them on yesterday.
Let's see what's going on in the chat. Does the live stream viewing audience get buckles? That's actually maybe a good idea for next year. Maybe we can make some. We need to make some awards just for the live stream viewing audience.
So it's like how you see those stickers. I mean, of course you see stickers for distances 26.2, 140.6.
The 0.0 stickers, classic.
A 0.0 buckle with the Cocodona logo atop for those who have been hanging out on the live stream for 6 days.
Yeah, Naomi in the chat. There should be T-shirts for those who take the live stream so seriously. Well, I hope you don't take the live stream too seriously, but I hope that you do tune in day over day.
Yeah, I think that over the course of the week, one of the things that keeps viewers in is the fact that people are able to watch this without maybe having to watch it directly the same way they would another race such as Black Canyon or a fast-moving race like that, or Western States or Haviland 100, because at a race like that, it's bang, bang, bang because the leaders are so darn fast. Here, the fastest runners are still taking close to 3 days, so they can kind of follow in a more relaxed notion. And also, over the course of the work week, if you're working remotely from home, or even if you're in the office, you might not be watching with a full screen. Maybe you've got just a window open in the corner so you can hear what's going on. And anytime you hear one of the commentators say, "Oh my gosh," all of a sudden then you turn around and tune in.
Yeah, love it. And thanks to the chat for letting me know that there was background music here. That was probably on from our prior stream that was set up overnight. And I didn't know that we had a little background audio there, so I appreciate that. That should be taken care of. So, shout out to you guys for always, and you men and women for always keeping us on the rails here.
Absolutely, Matt. We could actually show the audience here in just a moment once I refresh. The status of everything on the tracker, and maybe kind of give them perspective. So. Let me cheat out a little bit here. Okay, there we go.
Are you ready, Chris?
I am ready. So what
One second. There.
So what we've got here, this is the tracker that is actually available to you on the link right below the window in the description. So this is our Cocodona 250 tracker and our Sedona Canyons 125 tracker. This is the entirety of the course right here. However, our focus is going to be on this section right here. As you can see, the lower left, you've got Heritage Square in downtown Flagstaff, and the runners that are making their way down from Mount Eldon. This is Eldon Aid right here at mile 242. Our sweeper is currently at mile, it says 242.
Yeah, I think the sweeps have
I think the sweeps have departed Eldon, right?
have left.
We'll have to see if we can get our eyes up on Eldon and our ears up on Eldon to confirm. Yeah, the sweepers have likely left Eldon at this point. Right now, the back of the pack is a couple of runners, Elizabeth Russ and Jenny Dolak. Elizabeth Russ cut things a little bit close at Walnut Canyon Aid last night, but it looks like it was done with intent. And what I mean by that is that all runners had to be out last night. I believe the cutoff to leave that aid station was it 9:30 to leave Walnut Canyon last night? I think that was it. I've got the runner guide and a PDF on my laptop, and I'll see if I can pull it up really quick.
This is a cool comment in the chat from Eric, who we've seen in the chat all week. As a geographer, he's been completely fixated with the live tracker map.
Okay, so
which is more ultras of 100 miles or more had this tech. Yeah, I mean, the trackers are expensive. I think that's probably the barrier to entry for maybe some 100 milers, but hopefully over time, kind of alternatives to spot tracker systems improve, or hopefully there's just a larger investment and a larger need for this type of thing for a broadcasting purpose.
Well, as time advances, the barrier to entry gets a little bit cheaper, less
Yep.
expensive, and so hopefully this is something that other races can utilize. We still hope that you stick around and watch our usage of the tracker, but we, as you can see right here, so these are the back of the pack runners, as we mentioned, Jenny and Elizabeth, basically just past the mile 242 mark, which means they've got probably about 8 miles to go. And these miles right here are basically the miles heading down from Mount Eldon. So they're going to have a fairly steep downhill stretch down some Forest Service roads. Then they'll finally, as they get closer to the bottom, they'll rejoin single track through a stretch of the Arizona Trail into Buffalo Park. That is a fairly flat area as well. And once they get through Buffalo Park, they hit the Switzer Canyon Connector Trail, which brings them to the streets of Flagstaff. That is Switzer Canyon right there. And finally onto Forest, then to Beaver, and finally they make that left hand on Birch, head to Cocodona Alley through I called this last night, Gates of Justice. I don't think it's going to stick. But then they hit the finish line, and their journey has drawn to a close. But, yeah, that's where we're at right now. You know, we've got these runners. All of these runners in the tracker are within 8 miles of the finish. And given that we have literally 4 hours and 55 minutes, and these runners have a net downhill of 2,000 feet on fairly runnable and even comfortably hikeable trail and roads, I like our chances of being done well before 10 a.m.
Yeah, I agree, although I will say some of it is, so our sweeper left the Eldon 8 at 4 a.m. is what Race Command was saying, so that updated.
Do we have anybody?
But what kind of pace are they moving at? So it looks like just over or just under 2 miles per hour for both Elizabeth and Jenny Dolek.
Which should make them still
should make them
safe.
Definitely it should make them fairly safe. But I guess the point I was making is we may not be wrapping everything up, at 7:30 in the morning or something like that. It still may be,
I think probably 8:30 is when we'll probably expect our final finishers here.
I don't think we're gonna have a 9:56, 9:57 finish. It is still possible. I will say that it is still possible, but.
For sure.
Yeah, I would think that we're going to have more breathing room than that. Let's make sure that we keep our eyes here on the
and you can see
cam.
the sun starting to change the sky in the background as it is just after 5 a.m.
And we do have
A friend of ours has woken up, maybe smelled the coffee, because I know I'm smelling the coffee. The, what? Oh, that would be wonderful.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
we may have eyes on.
And speaking of smelling the coffee, the runners are smelling the barn. And Shad the man,
I think he said he got in 40 miles yesterday.
he was over 90 miles. And I believe that he,
Shad's gonna have to let us know because I know that Shad can always hear the studio.
yes,
He's great about it. He'll have
Shad.
to let us know what his mileage total is at.
So I believe that Shad was well into the 80s. I think he said 87, but he also said that his watch had died for a little while. So he probably captured a few miles. He said maybe like 7 or so miles that were not on Strava.
Jeez.
I
Yeah,
want.
we do have a runner on the Shad cam
Oh,
here.
here we go.
Bib 159
Thank you so much,
coming
Brad.
in. Looks like about to cross the light at Beaver Liquors. And we will
Andrew Marvin
Andrew Marvin
from
and
Texas.
we also do have our drone up in the sky here at Buffalo Park. As we get a little bit more of a sunrise, we'll be able to bring that to you. But you can see the moon in the distance. Always beautiful here in Flag. But for the time being, Andrew Martin is the man of the hour.
Are we able
We'll
to
see
get?
if we can unmute. And I just need to. The audience should be able to hear. I just need to fix our monitor. So hopefully I'm not hurting anyone's ears right now.
We left the last station to start with Eldon, like at 3:30, so very early. Yeah.
So they left Eldon at 3:30. So he made it
But you
down
don't have
from
to-
the top of Eldon to Beaver Street in an hour and a half. That's moving pretty well at this pace of the
You have to
race.
go to the gas station. Maybe with some medicine. I didn't start climbing Eldon till what? 9?
3:30. It's just after 5 a.m. So he made it about 6.5, 7 miles in 90 minutes at this pace of the race. That's looking pretty good, Andrew. I am really impressed. But Andrew is definitely smelling the barn at this point. And thank you to Shad.
Got some Shad cam love in the chat. Shad, I think, might be the real MVP of the live stream broadcast.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, Shad is definitely someone who we should never ever take for granted because of what he adds, not only in terms of his coverage and his relentless efforts, but he obviously gets the runners' spirits up as well. He gets them, feeling amped and hyped for that home stretch. Yeah, Sean, arriving right in time for the best coffee in town at Macy's. I agree that Macy's is the best coffee in town, but I hope somebody brings it to him because I don't want him to have to head across the railroad tracks in his current state.
Well, but here's the thing. Macy's is definitely one of the best, but the finish line is right across the street from Late for the Train.
I've never
An
been
incredible coffee shop here in Flag. It's like kind of a if you know, you know.
You're doing good, man. You're crushing
it. Anyone who's not looking to walk across the tracks and wants to support one of our Heritage Square businesses here.
Yeah, if we see
if they're
Monica,
open, I don't know what time they open.
We have eyes on the finish line as well in the background. I don't think Shad would have passed by Monica if he had seen her, but we'll keep an eye on that as well.
This is the scene at the finish here, so fret not, my friends.
Did Monica let me see, because her tracker pinged 18 minutes ago, which would have been.
She could have finished while
on the prior stream.
No, while our computer broke in the middle of our stream switch.
That is a possibility as well. Yeah, it looks like Monica has actually completed the race. Let me confirm that.
You're good.
I'll switch it back here to Andrew. Again, if we do see any movement at the finish, we will send it that way. When we were switching streams,
I'm wearing 2 layers. It's cold out
Yeah,
here.
so Monica actually did finish while we were
Was it still
transitioning
really,
over.
really windy last night?
We had to end our prior stream and begin our final stream simply due to YouTube limitations. And at a finish time of 118 hours, 40 minutes, 54 seconds, we want to give Monica the applause and the accolades that she deserves for completing this journey across the state of Arizona. Congratulations to Monica Winnett.
I don't know the exact number. Probably
Monica, one of our international runners, I believe,
20, 30
having
people,
come
I
from
would say.
Ontario to run the Cocodona.
Have a good day then. Oh, yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah, the
Andrew and
last
Chad
runner
just
has
out for a
already
nice
left
little
Eldon,
stroll
so-
down Beaver Street as the sun rises in beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona. Tina,
That's a nice way
Tina
to put
Marvin,
it.
any relation? We'll have to see if we can find out.
I don't want to run on this.
You never assume, even if they have the same last name, whether or not somebody's related or the relation. But
Yeah, they got the fence all fenced off.
Look at Andrew here in such great spirits, running, saying he wanted to kiss the buffalo at Buffalo Park. My kids routinely go and want to kiss the buffalo, so it's not a new thing here.
somebody actually suggested that
Make sure you
Kevin
leave it all
Goldberg
out.
next year to keep adding to his race should get on top of the buffalo and take a picture. I don't know how much climbing, of anything, you'd want to do at 248 miles, but if there's anybody that would be interested in doing that, it would be Kevin Goldberg.
Yeah, and we do just want to show you this beautiful sunrise coming up over Mount Eldon here. Runners going to be treated to some beautiful views here as they hit Buffalo Park, but we want to keep it right here
Yeah,
on Andrew Marvin.
definitely wasn't like this yesterday morning.
Yeah, they actually came from
You
that
picked the
shot
perfect
that we
time.
were just showing you there. They came from the very summit of Eldon. That was a change in the course from the previous 2 years, where they actually stopped about 300 feet short of the Eldon summit. And here this year,
Last couple of days, there's a big
They're
old
now,
construction zone here that people had to go through.
they now actually summit Eldon
It's like after you make it this
before
far,
they
you don't
make
wanna
their
have to
descent.
weave your way through a construction zone.
So the last couple of streets are Dale, Cherry, and Birch that the runners are going to head down. And they take that left on Birch.
You got the light right there, so one more block you're going to hang a left, and then you just got a block and a half to go. Oh, cool. I'll let my picture tell me what you said. This is entirely hard to keep out.
This is one of the fun
It's the
parts, Chris,
iconic
about
left on Birch.
one of the fun parts about the final finishers here and having Shad out there is just being able to listen in to some of these conversations as runners are approaching the finish line.
So Andrew filled out our runner profile questionnaire. So we know about Andrew Marvin.
Let's hear it.
All right, Andrew Marvin, running Cocodona here, just finishing things up, telling us about himself. A Flatlander from Texas with a Scandinavian and Podunk, Ohio background mix that absolutely makes sense. Currently a psychiatric nurse, which
just
may have been
cross
the
the
greatest
street and
training I've
make
ever
left.
received for trail running. That's true. He enjoys computers, music editing, eating, long walks on the trail, writing, podcasting, eating during writing and podcasting, falling, trail naps, falling while trail napping, and Costco.
There's no traffic, so you're good to
I
go.
love that he loves Costco too.
And here he is, the most iconic
Left.
left-hand turn in all of sports. Shad knows. Shad was letting him know just how iconic this turn is.
We need to get people to wear shirts that say left on Birch for next year's Cocodona. Like with the little, like the decal that is on the ground. I think that's what we got to do. Andrew started trail running just 2 years ago and believes 200s are the best distance. Also, he wants to remind you he does love eating. What inspired him to participate in this race, previous 200s, and wanting to see just how much he can sweat in the desert. He gets it. And what section of the course are you most excited for? Not the first 37 miles.
Well, I'm guessing right now the section he's most excited for is this next half block section.
Absolutely. Yeah, looking at Andrew's ultra sign up, he does have a Moab finish to his
Half a block
credit.
more.
He's run a couple of
Right to the
100 Ks
finish
and 100
line.
milers as well. So this looks like it's going to be his second 100-mile finish. One of the younger participants in the field, looking Andrew Marvin, 31 years of age.
Nice.
It's a pretty early start to be getting into the 200-mile game. Yeah, Mallory, I was shocked when he said that too. He started trail running 2 years ago. In my first 2 years, I don't think I had even broached the idea of
Right.
a.
So amazing. Making that turn, getting to see the finish line,
Oh,
capping off just a truly remarkable journey here at the Cocodona 250. Andrew Marvin, going to be your next finisher here in downtown Flagstaff. What an amazing run from Andrew Marvin. Look at that. He was in such great spirits there coming in.
And Shad, you can see in the background heading right back out. Like I said, this man is a treasure, and we should never ever take him for granted, because the first thing, he wanted to help Andrew, get in and share his moment at the finish line, but then Shad turns right back around and heads out to meet our next runner somewhere on the streets of Flagstaff, perhaps on Beaver Street.
Yeah, we'll see maybe where we can expect our next runner on the live tracker, but
I would assume fairly soon.
This
it
is
looks
this is the beauty of the golden morning, as we're dubbing it. Is it's basically nonstop action.
Yeah, a golden hour is not enough for the Cocodona. I mean, you're talking about a 250-mile odyssey across the state of Arizona. And we do have shorter distances as well. The Sedona Canyon's 125 and Eldon Crest 36. And it is our we do have a couple of Sedona Canyons runners confirmed on the course. We do have a couple of bibs that are unaccounted for on the Eldon Crest, but we'll see if those runners have actually are still participating in the race. Our sweepers are up on Eldon right now, making their way down.
Yeah, and maybe Race Command can help me out there. I know that Race Command's always tuned into the live stream. Shad back out has our next runner. We'll see if we can get a bib number here. But that looks like, give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure who that is. I thought that might be. Let's see.
I know I saw this runner up on our Eldon cam last night.
Having such a strong run here.
What's
She's
your
close.
Jamil.
That's who I thought it was.
Oh,
that's Jamila.
Jamila.
I'm not seeing her on the tracker, but
Jamila is in the 36. She originally started the, I believe, let me confirm this here. But yeah, Jamila actually started the Cocodona 250, withdrew, and then jumped into the Eldon Crest 36.
Shout out to Jamila.
She wanted to finish.
Georgia native.
Yeah.
She's a legend in the running community in Georgia and the greater Atlanta area. So shout out to
It's
Jamila.
the last right to the finish line.
Yeah,
right
Jamila's
here.
got some fans in the chat.
Here,
I
here.
know
Absolutely
that.
amazing. I thought that's who it was, but I couldn't find her on the tracker. So incredible.
Jamila finishing the Eldon Crest 36 would not be denied a finish this week after things went side for her on the Cocodona course. Came back and registered for Eldon Crest. That's determination right there. She didn't want to leave Flagstaff this week without a sense of satisfaction and
That's
completion.
amazing.
So yeah, Jamila crossing that finish line for the Eldon Crest 36. And she did not get just 36 miles this year. Jamila, let's see how far she got and figure out how many miles she did in total this year. It looks like Jamila had gotten about 45 to 50 miles in during the Cocodona itself, but another 36. So Jamila puts in an 80, 85 mile week here. Great work by her, and congratulations. Again, amazing determination by Jamila. You can't help but feel inspired. As again, we saw Shad head back down the alley. Jamila wanted to make sure that that she had some hardware this week, and she got it. PBJ in the chat. Okay, so this is something that came up last night. PBJ is code for Puffy Blue Jacket, because there's a guy, a Puffy Blue Jacket guy, and I assume we'll see him this morning. And this has become one of my favorite new fans of this event.
Well, he's like bike cheer lady from last year.
So Josh Pantello was in the Eldon Crest, or not, sorry, Eldon Crest. He was in Sedona Canyons 125.
Another runner coming in here, bib 19.
Bib number 197. Yep. That is Brian Booth.
Yep, that's right. Flagstaff local, making his way.
Got that 8 more miles hat, wearing it with pride. So, yeah, Brian Booth, in the last couple blocks here of the Cocodona 250. So, yeah, we were talking about Puffy Blue Jacket guy. Josh Pantello dropped out of Sedona Canyons 125. And rather than, spend the rest of the week in his hotel room, he decided, well, I'm here, so why not make the most of it? So he's been basically manning that corner as runners enter the final alley of their race, and ringing a cowbell. And he's been doing it for an average of about 14, 15 hours a day the last 2 days.
Has he been ringing more cowbell?
More cowbell. Well, that's why he has definitely brought more cowbell to the coverage here of Cocodona. So, yeah, that right there is Brian Booth heading up to LaRue.
Half a block to go.
Shout out to Brian, capping off what's got to be just such an incredible journey.
TJ. TJ, no. PYT, Pretty Young Thing, was not by TLC.
Turn into the alley here, and you're headed to the finish
no.
line. Awesome
that would be, in fact, Michael Jackson, my friend. Brian Booth picking up the pace for those last few steps, not only smelling the barn at this point, but seeing it as he's about 60 meters out from the finish line of the Cocodona 250. Didn't seem like he had a lot to say, but I'm sure that there's plenty on his mind, as he is now the most recent finisher. Great job. 120
Big
hours
hugs.
and 26 minutes for Brian Booth.
Amazing.
And Shad heading off. I have to admit, I love that visual of Shad. We're going to stick here with Brian for a few moments, and with his family and support staff, support crew, as he's presented with that hard-earned Cocodona 250 buckle right there by another one of our volunteers, getting that transponder so he can leave in peace. And it didn't take long for Shad to pick up another runner. Looks like we've got one right on Brian's heels. Bib number
152.
152.
Coming down Cocodona Alley here. That is Nate Durvin.
I guess
from
that's
Cape May, New Jersey.
Nate Durvin and Brian Booth having what amounts to a sprint finish after 250 miles, looking like they're going to finish about 2 minutes apart. Nate soaking it in. Looks like he might be capturing this moment on a GoPro. Yeah,
there it is.
Seabreeze, we'll count them here in just a moment. But, yeah, Nate Durvin, congratulations to him.
Yeah, incredible. Looks like he was maybe a participant last year as well. We'll have to see if we can confirm that. But that looked like last year's participant sun hoodie that he was.
Yeah,
Nate
Nate Durvin ran
and Cocodona. I recognize the name, so.
Not only did he run Cocodona last year, he also ran Tahoe, Badwater, Bigfoot, Moab.
Also, he did the Grand Slam. He did the Grand Slam of 200s last year.
The Grand Slam and Haviland 100. So, he likes to get his mileage in. So congratulations to two-time finisher Nate Durvin.
And we will send it out to Buffalo Park here.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a count on runners on course at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to Race Command to just tell us how many people are still on course, Chris.
You have more connections than I do.
Well, they're listening to the stream. That's where they get most of their intel, but we get our runners on course intel from them. So it's a wonderful partnership between the live stream team and Race Command here.
Well,
Noah on the desk at Race Command. So shout out to Noah this morning.
I'm glad that we peeled away Noah from some video of a fish concert in order to.
He did send a text that when he's working, no fish being played. He's all business.
Nice to see the man knows when to pivot and focus on these amazing runners. Yeah, well, all we can say in terms of like confirmed number, it's not many.
Yeah,
like folks. It is. This is a different situation than last year's Cocodona, where we had several people, finish in the golden hour. And I have to admit, Matt, when I see that in an ultra such as this, I always think to myself, like, man, the race directors pegged it on that one, like trying to figure out the time limitations. Because that's probably not an easy thing to do. You have to set up volunteers and everything, and that's. I remember a couple years ago, the finish time for Mogollon Monster was extended from 36 to 38 hours, and a good quarter of the field finished in the last 2 hours. So I was like, oh, Race Command had that pegged. Also, in the case of this race, I don't think we've seen. At least I know we didn't last year, and I guess the year before. Nobody has been timed out in the final stretch from Walnut Canyon. Now, they may have dropped at Walnut Canyon, but once they made it past that point in the first 2 years of this race, Andre Lee and Stephen Park bringing up the rear, nobody's timed out after Walnut Canyon.
And we do actually have Aaron on Race Command, not Noah. I got confused with.
Well, no wonder things are going so well.
Yeah, no wonder why things are going so well. Aaron's in the he's tuning in, so. Shout out to Aaron Schmidt for doing such a great job. 7 runners plus Eldon Crest is what he said.
Okay.
So he's Eldon Crest. No one knows anything, but all we know is the data we have from the timing mats, which can be found at live.aravaiparunning.com. So there could be 2 Eldon Crest runners out there as well. But just a handful of
if you want to show the iPad here, Matt, really quick. So our sweeper is currently at mile 242.6, 243. Actually, that was 22 minutes ago, so I would assume maybe further along, and that's down the Eldon descent. So right there you can see that's all we got right there. This little stretch of trail into Flagstaff. And then these runners are all home free. So I just wanted to show that. I think we've got an excellent shot from Jason on the drone in Buffalo Park as well that we could pivot over to.
Yeah, he's got our next set of runners coming in. It looks like our final runner on course for the Cocodona 250 or Sedona Canyons races is at mile 243.3.
TJ Gardner in the chat. Noah getting backed over again and again by that bus. We love Noah. We really do. Actually, Noah took me to opening day this year for the Diamondbacks. We had a great time hanging out.
Shout out to Noah. I was actually surprised a bit when the text I read when I thought it was Noah, because that's awfully early. You know? Aaron has been holding down the late night, early morning shifts on race command. So
Yeah, Rusty, there is a time limit, 10 a.m. for everybody, which means that the time in total that they were allowed to be on course for the Eldon Crest 36 is 27 hours, a pretty generous time frame there, 27 hours to go 36 miles. The Sedona Canyon's 125. They started their journey on Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., so they have 75 hours to go 125 miles. Again, I consider that to be an extremely generous cutoff, but that means that anybody who has that perseverance and that relentless forward drive likely can do that race. And the Cocodona time frame, of course, the runners started down in Black Canyon City at 5 a.m. on Monday morning, and they will have had 125 hours to complete their journey across the state of Arizona.
I'm unsure who this runner is, but my best guess is that it's actually our final Sedona Canyon's 125 participant, Yojin Kim. It could be Mark Tetreault in the 250. Both of their trackers were kind of coming into Buffalo Park, but Yojin Kim's was a little while ago.
Yeah, Rusty, I do believe that everybody's going to make it today. I mean, our final runners are, maybe 6.5 miles out from the finish line, and that's actually probably being a conservative, as our sweep is currently at about 243.5. That great drone shot in Buffalo Park. When Jason had the drone aimed a little bit higher, you could see, I believe that was either Humphreys or Agassi's peak in the background. It was an absolutely gorgeous shot.
It looks like he's going to pan it up just for you, Chris.
I loved it. There we go. Yeah, so I believe that I believe Agassi's is on the left and Humphreys is the other one that's almost as tall because of the Agassi's is closer, but Humphreys in the background is the highest point in Arizona, just over 12,600 feet.
And we will get eyes back on these runners in a matter of moments. Until then, yeah, so they were coming through Buffalo Park together. So that, I don't know if that was one runner and pacer, or if that was both of our runners together, which is what it looks like based on the live tracker. It looks like that might be the case, and based on how they looked, that also seems accurate.
Yeah, thank you, Mallory, for recognizing our drone pilots this week. We had a few, and I'd like to give them their flowers right now. Right now, this is Jason. Jason has been doing this all week. Got into town about the same time I did last week on Saturday night to set everything up. Jason doing an excellent job. Q was out there yesterday.
Yep.
Enzo had been following the first half of the race. In the southern areas of the Cocodona and Sedona Canyons events. Jamil was on, I believe, a drone for a little while at least. And I don't know, did I get everybody there? I want to make sure that we recognize them all.
We also had, Sean Parker.
Okay.
I believe was flying drone for us. And then, of course, we can't forget the legendary Enzo.
Yeah, I did mention Enzo.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Because we do have a RIP Enzo drone number 1 in the chat. Thankfully, Jamil did allow Enzo to continue flying after
and breathing
after crashing one of the drones. But yeah, shout out to all our drone pilots. Shout out to all our filming volunteers. Shout out to all of the aid station volunteers and the Aravaipa staff for putting on the event. I know on the live stream it's easy for for us to just look at the volunteer side of the media production, but without all of the all of the staff and all of the volunteers who help make this race happen, there is no live stream. So
Yeah.
huge shout out to them. It takes, in Southern Illinois, there are towns smaller than the amount of volunteers it takes to put on this race. So huge shout out to everyone involved.
As Jason pivots his shot to Mount Eldon, that is the origination of the runners before they headed down this home stretch. And having had, these final runners had to head up Eldon in the middle of the night, which I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy.
Yeah, and I did get confirmation in race command that that was in the red was Yojin Kim, and I believe that was Mark Tetreault of the Mark, Texas, with Yojin. So both those runners kind of came through Buffalo Park together. Again, we will have eyes on them in a matter of moments. I know that the Shad Cam is back out. He's getting his he got a little his legs got a little beat up yesterday, having to follow in some of those Eldon Crest runners who were running 6-minute pace through the streets.
I
of
actually was
Flagstaff.
thinking about that myself. The fact that Shad has followed for dozens of miles over the course of this race, and I thought I wondered how the Eldon Crest runners would factor into the equation. And when I saw him actually keeping up with some of those quicker 36-milers, I was grateful to have him, but I also felt terrible for him as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if anyone is interested in volunteering, we do have our volunteer sign up for both the live stream and the race up on our website, aravaiparunning.com. Go over to the volunteer page. You can see both the Cocodona 2024 and 2024 live stream volunteer links. So, if you want to come out and be a part of the magic, maybe want to volunteer early in the week, run Eldon Crest on Friday or Sedona Canyons on Wednesday, that is definitely a possibility. And I am going to put the registration link in the chat because registration for the 2024 events is up. So
we'll have to actually now I have to go and check to see who all is registered for Cocodona in 2024. As every time I peek, we've got a few more entrants. We have a total of 28 entrants in the Cocodona 2024. I would say the most notable name on the Ultra sign-up sheet would be Pete Kostelnik.
And we got more runners. This is one of this section right before you kind of come into Buffalo Park proper, so you can see kind of on the right of your screen. Now it's kind of in the right center of your screen, a little kind of trail board sign that has maps and everything like that. If you are heading on kind of this single double track back into the trees here, it's a pretty rugged section. It's only maybe a couple hundred meters long, but a lot of beautiful volcanic rock out in that section before you kind of get into the buttery smooth single track of Buffalo Park proper.
And that's a section of the Arizona Trail.
It is. This would be the Arizona Trail, I believe, has two routes through two routes. One that kind of goes through the town of Flagstaff, and then one that I believe kind of skirts the town of Flagstaff.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of exploration out on that stretch of trail, and it really is pretty. I didn't go very far out there, but it is a very attractive section. And folks, for those following along, just to let you know, we've got multiple camera angles that we can see here in the studio in our production setup. We do have a finish line camera at all times at this point. We also have, as we mentioned, this drone shot from Jason. Thank you to Jason for that. And Shad is our eyes and ears and legs on Beaver Street, logging, an admirable amount of miles this week. I wonder if I can check to see if he has picked up any any local legend titles here on the streets of Flagstaff.
Rusty Knot in the chat. That section is extremely rocky and dicey on tired legs. Yeah, I mean, for me, it feels rocky and dicey on fresh legs, so I can only imagine what it feels like for some of these runners. And again, the next runners we should be picking up on the Shad Cam should be Mark Tetreault and Yojin Kim. Mark in the 250, Yojin in the 125. Both of them should be out of Buffalo Park making their way down the Switzer Canyon Trail. I'm getting word that our audio is low, so that could be me. Sounds like, yeah, it was maybe my audio was a bit low. Chris's should be okay.
I think you sound fantastic.
Well, that's nice of you, Chris. They're asking, is it Shad or Chad? It is Shad.
With an S.
With a sh. Lamarck is close to Galveston, Texas, on the southeast Texas Gulf Coast. Flat as a pancake and very few trails. That's actually incredibly amazing. Mark Tetreault able to be brave enough to take on such an endeavor, knowing there are maybe barriers with training. Just based on where he lives. He didn't let that stop him whatsoever.
Well, those flatlanders, from places like the Gulf Coast and Florida, who spend most of their time in terms of vert climbing bridges and parking garages. It's pretty amazing.
Looks like Shad might be getting close to seeing our next runners.
He's got to be at Switzer at that point.
Yep, this is definitely the Switzer Canyon Trail. This is the section, so they come down a fairly gentle downhill, maybe 500 meters, 600 meters long from Buffalo Park, and they'll make kind of a left-hand turn on. Yep, Shad has.
You're crushing it.
Looks like Yojin.
What's that? Maybe a mile and a half.
All right, that is Yojin Kim.
Yep. Per race command, they recognize the red outfit, so
yeah,
it stands out.
It stands out. Yojin Kim is in the Sedona Canyons 125, bib number 472.
Still moving forward, moving strong with a purpose here. And this, I believe, is our final finisher for the Sedona Canyons 125.
Actually, we've got one more bringing up the rear.
Oh.
That would be Benjamin Kuhn. So,
yep. Good catch there, Chris. That's why they pay you the big bucks here.
So it looks like the outer red is a poncho. Also looks like a poncho made out of a heating blanket.
It looks cozy, as cold as it is there. And our temperature bug in the top left has been updated, so I know that it's been a question across the week, but it is in fact 31 degrees. It is in fact freezing in
Yeah.
Flagstaff.
Well, you can see the frost in the ground, and right behind Yojin.
Live? Yeah, you're on live right now.
He's like, oh.
Cheering you on, man.
Mallory, do we think runners were prepared enough for the cold? I would hope so. They knew coming in that, it might be 31 degrees now, but this is not the coldest they've experienced. I would say that was probably a few miles ago.
Yeah, I mean, up on Eldon last night or the night prior may have been the coldest
There's no
experience
traffic, so you should be able to just go right across.
for these runners.
Yeah, you're good. It's green now, so you're good.
Just thinking about being up on Eldon makes me want that red
If it comes
that
down
red
to
jacket.
it, I'll take a car for you. I'll take a car for you if it comes down to it.
Shad willing to stop traffic literally and figuratively. Yeah, TJ Gardner in the chat. I have no doubt that we're going to see him take on the Dona here sometime in the next few years. I know that that's been something that he has been very interested in. He and a few friends a couple years ago did a mini Dona across the second half of the course, I believe. Basically, what they did was kind of stumble
Sedona
in.
Canyons 125.
Yep, they stumbled under the Sedona Canyons 125. TJ, you can confirm the start and end points of the run that you guys did, but I do remember that being something you have been imminently interested. Obviously, having things such as school and family to take care of, it's hard to make time to get ready for a race such as Cocodona, but I know that is in TJ's long-term view.
Eric in the chat saying he wants to see shorts on the Aravaipa channel in the coming weeks. I second that. I want to see some shorts on the Aravaipa YouTube channel here. Maybe
like running shorts.
Well, maybe. I mean, there might be running shorts in the shorts.
Oh, like shorts like films.
Like YouTube shorts.
Bro, I'm trying.
I can't tell if you're serious or doing a bid here.
Neither can I, Matt. Neither can I. Yeah, it was Sedona to Flag, so TJ and crew did the mini Dona is what they coined it at the time. Just over 100 miles from Sedona to Flag, an adventure of their own.
So they basically did the Sedona Canyons recon run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Eric, I understood. I understood what you meant.
I did not. Oh man, it's got to have hit the streets. Yojin knowing that
he's just got one more block before he turns left on Beaver Street here.
I'm gonna go dressed as YouTube shorts for Halloween.
Yeah, shout out to TJ.
I have a cup of coffee in hand, Brett. It's just still been a heck of a week between burning the midnight oil and the early morning oil here on the Cocodona live stream, as well as trying to put forth my best effort during the day at my actual 9 to 5.
Yeah.
The mini Dona. I didn't realize that, TJ. I'll have to search that out. You know how to contact me. You can send me that link, and I'll watch that when I've got a little bit more energy and I'm fully recovered. I can't wait to go back and watch some of this coverage. We've had some highlights this week on the coverage.
We love you all in the live chat so much.
Yes.
What's that?
It's like
You're gonna hang a left, and you're gonna head downhill towards the finish line.
course, I can't wait to go back and watch some of the finish highlights of several of these runners. Sally McRae's finish was fantastic. The energy and the flex that she put on at the end, right as she finished, was top notch. I can't wait to go back and watch the legendary speech put on by Andy Jones-Wilkins on Tuesday night. I would love to see that in a YouTube short because people.
Well, now that you know what a YouTube short is.
Yeah, now I'm talking like I own the place.
Yeah.
No, for those who missed it on Tuesday night, Andy Jones-Wilkins was going to join us on the commentary team this week, but was unable to due to a family obligation. He volunteered in Crown King all day, like from the start of the race to after dark. And
There's no traffic. You're good.
And he went straight from Crown King to the East Coast. Like
And it's
literally
changing right now anyway, so you're good. You're double good.
driving Shad, directing traffic in the streets of Flagstaff. AJW headed out to Richmond, Virginia afterwards to help his son out with things as he graduated from college. And
What's that? Yeah, you're gonna go. It's pretty much downhill. There's tiny little flat with maybe a little bit uphill on it, and then you're gonna turn left onto Birch Street. You're just under a mile to the finish line.
I saw that the trail gangster himself, Rory Monahan, actually created an Instagram short of his rap.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Fantastic.
commented on it. Do you want to know what my favorite part was, Chris?
What?
Your reaction as he was rapping.
Oh yeah,
The cuts to Chris were great. You had this expression of interesting.
Of course, there is another highlight that we've already played several times, but that Flota commercial has to be isolated on YouTube.
I think that Flota, Satisfied Running, has released the Flota commercial.
I am there.
I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I've definitely seen it on the gram or on Twitter.
Of course, Satisfy Running actually has an excellent portfolio of commercials. Yep, it's on YouTube. I'm surprised it's only got 500 views at this point.
I think they just released it maybe yesterday.
Yeah, it looks like yesterday or 2 days ago. Comments are turned off. Oh, I wanted to see what the comments are. I definitely wanted to see what the comments were going to be for that thing. Of course, they've had other commercials with Mike Versteeg. They had a very unique commercial with Jamil Curry a few years ago as well. Satisfy does put together some of the most impressive looking ad campaigns in this space. One of our sponsors here for the Cocodona 250.
We've got a few comments now left on Birch shirts. Yes.
Yeah, that's
we need some left on Birch merch, and we need some Beaver Liquors merch. So we'll have to see if we can, build a better relationship with Beaver Liquors here in Flagstaff. Maybe get some co-branded merchandise. Help support the local establishment,
Absolutely. John Marushek asking, is that AJW bit on day 2, stream 2? I think that, that would be when it was. Basically just talking about the spirit of community and togetherness in this space, in the trail and ultra running scene. And, I don't want to give too much away, but basically he talked about his experiences and, considers himself semi-retired from the running scene. But he said that Cocodona inspired him, and he truly believes at this point for him and this race, it's not a matter of if, but when. And the way that he shared his...
By far not the only runner, so that's been doing it.
So, what AGW had to say was fantastic.
And so Race Command is telling me that Yojin dropped from the 250, but wanted to finish and entered the 125.
So that's the second person that we're aware of that was in that situation who definitely was not going to be denied a some hardware here this week. Because as we mentioned earlier, we had another runner who, Jamila,
Yep.
who had run and started Cocodona.
Yeah. Shout out to Jamila.
Yeah, I believe it's. Didn't we discover last year that somebody had like taken the initiative and made some or the opportunity for people to purchase Left on Birch shirts from like a pirate site or something like that?
I'm not sure.
I mean, the idea has legs. There's no doubt about that.
Yep, you're going straight.
E-Ball asking when L SpaceX finished. It was fairly late last night. It was one of the final runners that we had on the commentary part of the broadcast. Colleen Lingley and I were here
I knew you were coming.
to cover L's finish at this race.
And here is the crossing at Beaver Liquors.
And L's finish line, you know, you want to talk about a tear-jerking moment. She talked about in pre-race material about how her brother, who is no longer with us, had paced her during her last effort at Cocodona in 2021, and this was the redemption. And to see that finish line with her and her family, her young child, was really a great experience. Yeah, Mallory, her pre-race interview was, oh man, this is
What an amazing moment there.
oh man, right there. That's the love right there. That's why we're here. Yeah, E-Ball, service with a smile. We've, things are kind of in a mellow pace this morning in terms of what we're doing for coverage. We're here to call everybody in, but there's not many runners left on the course. We're able to give them their, their flowers, so to speak, but also, kind of converse about how the week has gone. Matt and I have been here for quite a few hours here on the live stream. We've been having fun, getting a little bit loopy at times, but it's all about trying to bring this magnificent race to a wider audience. And I feel like there is no other race in the Western Hemisphere where we get this kind of coverage. I mean, I don't know about the other 200s around the world and whether or not we're getting follow cams for the final runners, but
you gotta go down to B Street.
Wow. Yojin completed 501.8 miles last week at the Sri Chinmoy Tende. Yeah, Rusty in the chat. It's an in-joke in flag. That's correct. I believe the technical official name of the establishment is Beaver Street Liquors.
The good news is you're going to
However,
be
the
turning
sign,
the next light.
well,
the sign says Beaver Liquors.
it kind of has that little carrot, that insert carrot that says street. Like if you look closely at it, we actually got a close-up of the sign last night.
I won't accept that, Chris.
Okay.
I will only accept it as Beaver Liquors from here on out.
Okay.
Actually, I think that they should change their name. I think Beaver Liquors might be a better name.
I guess that would be, sometimes liquor stores will name themselves after where they're at. Of course, the Beaver Liquors on Beaver Street in Flagstaff. In another part of this state, in Payson, Arizona, there's a Rim Liquors.
Oh, nice. Up on the Mogollon Rim. Makes sense.
Yeah. So they are, just letting people know where they're at. It's no different than saying, Phoenix Dental offices. Yeah.
I see. I think it's perfect.
So, yeah, when Mark brought that up in the chat about Yojin completing 500 miles at Sri Chinmoy, that would mean that his total. I mean, I don't want to say. I would have to be careful how I say this, but it's a lot of miles. And we've been talking about Andrew Glaze's Coco Canyons,
No,
which is
there's
an
a light
absolutely
right before that.
impressive.
So this like the Shriadona.
Sri Dona. Yeah, Sri Dona. And also, yeah, as we mentioned, started Cocodona, was not having a great day, and then came back and ran 125. So we're talking 625.
So this like the Shriadona Canyons.
So this is like 700 plus miles, assuming, depending on where he dropped at the original Cocodona. That's bonkers, dude.
Yeah, and he is now just a few blocks away from hanging left on Birch. And we do have more runners coming through Buffalo Park here.
I see in our monitors that we have also got the probably recently risen Dr. Stephen Crawford cam as well. We'll probably have some fun hanging out with him, as I know he gets excited to cover this race. He's been all over this week.
Has he slept?
I don't know.
He was up at Mount Eldon.
Yeah, last night when it was down into the 20s, he set up his follow cam as a static cam for us at Mount Eldon. We were able to see the runners encircling a couple of heat lamps as they got ready to head down into the streets of Flagstaff. Several runners that we've seen this morning already were up there in those chairs. Yojin picking up a little bit more of a determined shuffle here at this point, with just a few blocks to go. I believe that construction is right at Dale Street. So
yep, and so he's about to cross Cherry here.
I'd
means
be
he's
in
one
about
block
2 blocks.
away.
Not even quite 2 blocks. Block and a half to the light.
The green light?
It's red right now.
Oh, okay. The one that just turns red.
Yep.
Oh, I'm glad it's all.
He's looking so strong here.
Yeah, right now, from what I can tell, we're going to have hopefully a couple of ground cams, and we'll have a drone picking up some of these last runners from Buffalo Park as well. We've got eyes everywhere that our manpower allows. Folks in the chat, if you want to share your favorite moments from this week, whether they be due to inspiration, due to hilarity, due to Matt or I embarrassing ourselves, let us know what you thought. What was it this week that really struck out to you?
Well, you'll get to see her because she should be at the finish line.
Yeah, let us
Even
know
more incentive.
what this week made you feel inspired or amused.
Yep, go across the light. There's no traffic, so you're good.
Yeah, Yojin has now reached Birch Street, which means after he crosses Birch, which is ironically a one-way going the other direction.
You're going to hang a left right here.
He's going to hang that left on
You
Birch.
got a block and a half to go.
John P., I do believe that one day Left on Birch really could be as famous as Left on Boylston.
Never heard of it.
One day. Now, shout out to you, John, for being in the chat. We appreciate it.
One of our friends down at the finish line yesterday, Andre Lee, was taking umbrage with the fact that we considered it the most famous left-hand turn in all of sports. And, yeah, he mentioned that whole Boylston thing as well.
No, man, he didn't mention it to me.
Oh, Lori
I'll say
Mazza, that's who it was.
yeah.
Lori Mazza, who ran Boston this year for the first time.
Yeah.
At the age of 59, was was like, I think that's a little bit more prominent, but I've never been there. So I mean, really, does it does it really exist?
That lets them know you're coming.
Someone in the chat saying it looks like the sweeper passed a runner. I think it's just the pings. The sweeper's tracker has pinged more recently than our two final runners.
Elizabeth Russ pinged 9 minutes ago, and the sweeper pinged. I'm sorry. Pinged 9 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago, and the sweeper pinged like 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Yojin Kim just steps away from making that right-hand turn down Cocodona Alley. And there is the finish. He's going to be our next finisher of the Sedona Canyons 125. In just a matter of moments. There you have it. Yojin Kim, Sedona Canyons 125 finisher.
Congratulations. Is that Dr. Stephen Crawford's feed that we have there?
It is.
He knows also. He's done this many times. He knows how to get the good stuff. And, of course, as you can see at the corner of the viewfinder, Shad heading back out onto the course.
Well, we should have Mark Tetreault coming in soon. Remember, they were both together at Buffalo Park.
Yep.
So we should.
I saw some comments in the chat talking about their favorite parts of this event. Let's see if I can pull up a couple of those.
One was the drone crash.
Yeah, the drone crash definitely caught some people off guard. I know it definitely caught Jamil off guard, as was immortalized by a moment there.
Yesterday's sprint finish.
Yeah, the sprint finish between Jason Baum and Brian Bondi. Jason Baum went to take the pass on Brian Bondi with a couple blocks to go, and Brian Bondi's reaction, I guess from a physical standpoint, was, oh, hell no, and picked it back up. And what's funny is that after Brian Bondi punched back with a sprint of his own, Jason basically just stopped and said, all right, I'll let him have this one. So
that was so awesome.
It was fun.
And here you see Steve Adderholt, the race director here.
Another one was the pass at Cattle Gate. That was Christopher St. Jean passing Killian Korth at a very narrow stretch of access to Tetreault.
That was pretty good,
and
too.
Christopher St. Jean's pacer, Joanna Carr, having to kind of basically slide in, off to the side. And, of course, we had been in – that's a section of trail where we don't get a lot of great coverage and because of cell phone limitations. But if only for a few moments, Matt, we caught, all of a sudden the frame rate refresh came back to, satisfied levels, and we caught that moment. That was fantastic.
Christopher St. Jean almost fought a car.
Yeah.
he wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, that was definitely
got some love for Ken Rubely in the chat as well.
Yeah, Ken Rubely was
he's picked out his outfit for next year. That is a
I
grape
saw
costume.
That. Oh, yeah, I was gonna spoil it, but yeah. But we brought Ken Rubely on, and we've been texting with him a little bit. Ken Rubely basically turning a water station drop into so much more.
Yeah.
And that was Monday. It does seem like, that's why we appreciate you in the chat and in the audience reminding us.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris.
Yeah.
Jason Baum is in the chat.
Jason Baum.
From the legendary sprint finish.
That was so
or
much
sprint
fun.
moment, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, that was funny. I mean, it looked like Jason was, there was just this jump in energy, this sudden, explosion between the two of them. And then when Brian was like, no, and Jason kind of, laid back. And
Jason being the mensch that he is, let Brian have his moment. And it was awesome to see the competitive fire.
Yeah.
And also to see the the sportsmanship as well there. So shout out to those two guys. That was awesome.
Lori Mazza, when I was talking about the left on Birch being the most iconic in all of sports, she's in the chat as well. I saw her out at the finish line yesterday to cheer on runners. Seeing Tyler mentioning Rebecca Walker coming back for redemption.
And then I did want to mention Alina Wingstad ran her first ever ultra at Eldon Crest. She's the first true triber to participate in any Cocodona events.
So you did the couch to Cocodona
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah, pretty much. All because my buddy said a long time ago, I was like, you should race, let's do 15-mile race.
Looks like that's Mark Tetreault.
He's like, you don't need to do that. And then I was like, I'm going to test it. So then I just signed up for Bandera. Ran Bandera. And I signed up for Rocky Raccoon right after. Ran. My buddy Seth was doing Cocodona. On the 250 now. off the couch.
I'm guessing he's around Fine Street
So,
or
put all
Elm
this
at this
effort in.
point.
prove my friend is kind of correct. You can run him or walk him, whatever.
That's
No,
Dale.
Mike, that's Dale, yeah. So only 2 blocks away from Birch.
Picking it up to a little bit of a run here, and he's actually moving really strong.
Yeah, he wants to be done. He smells the barn.
He knows there's food at the finish.
Yes, there's excellent food. Yeah, Adventures of Pinky and the Pooh. Favorite was when Enzo crashed the drone while Jamil was recording Bronco Billy. That's definitely something that people are going to remember for quite a while, if for nothing more than Jamil's reaction. McKnight, all business at Eldon. Change, eat, puke, run. That's pretty much what it was. Chad writes comments going into Sedona Aid. Chad never at a loss for words at this or any other time. Let's see here. We're glad that all of you are catching some of these moments. Some of these things I actually I don't remember Chad being in Sedona Aid. I might have been working.
Yeah, I think you were quote unquote working, but Chad
That can be understood for as far as you just got.
And also helping us remember some of these moments that we lived earlier this week.
Yep, you're crossing, then turn left.
I saw somebody talking
You're only
about
a block and a half away.
Sally McRae's finish, visually stunning.
Yeah, and you can see a video of that on our Instagram account, courtesy of the great Bryce Brooks.
As our current focus here is on Mark Tetreault from Texas, has made that left hand on Birch and is heading down Birch Street, coming up to LaRue, the last street he'll have to cross before the finish line. David Meow's first finish was hilarious. The second finish was heartfelt. Did you catch that moment, Matt?
I don't think so.
Okay, so David Meow crossed the finish line, and literally, Jamil was on the production because I remember that. David Meow crosses the finish line for the Cocodona 250, literally turns around and starts sprinting down the alley, and we were confused. We didn't know what was going on. We're like, did he want to run another runner in or something like that? And then he comes back, I don't know, about 5 minutes later, and he's with his wife who was pacing him. He had dropped his wife as a pacer.
Final stretch.
And it wasn't like he was shooting for a podium or anything. He just wanted to
be done.
Be done. But then he had to go back out anyways and came back several minutes later. It was actually really cool because, of course, they shared a great photo at the finish line. But, yeah, David Meow's finish was actually a lot of fun. Thanks for that reminder. Oh, Aid Station Fireball with the call. Sri Shinmadon. How would you say it? Sri Shinmadonia.
And here we got Mark Tetreault nearing the finish here as he is just steps away from that banner. our next Cocodona 250 finisher
Just
from Lamarck, Texas, flat as a pancake, as the live chat has let us know, and you can see the emotion and what it means here.
Can we keep it here actually until the very end? I want to just his that.
Congratulations, 250 miles.
That's priceless right there. I mean, you can see that Mark left it all out there, and the feeling that he's done is, Howie catching this moment, the incomparable Howie Stern. If you want a moment captured by, and this is not a strike against any other photographers out there. There are plenty of amazing people. Howie Stern, insists on catching these moments and does so in such a great fashion. Scott Rokas as well, another one of our.
Yeah, Anastasia Wild has also been out there with the crew. This whole crew of photographers has just been doing such an amazing job at capturing the emotion of the moments, whether it be on course or at the finish line here.
Scott asking about the drone crash. Can we cut a clip of it and post it? I'm sure we can, but just in case you can't wait, it would happen at 7:03 on Wednesday morning. I remember it vividly. 7:03 a.m. Wednesday morning at the start of the Sedona Canyons 125. Yet another finisher hitting in. We're running out of people out on the course. The Shad cam is back on the move. We will be tuning back in with Shad as we turn to the Stephen Crawford cam. Yeah, the photographers completing their own ultras this week is definitely true. Howie is probably not the kind of guy to keep his Strava on, as he is an accomplished ultra runner in his own right. I believe 11 or 12 Hard Rock finishes and just as many Angeles Crest finishes as well over his running career. So, you talk about a guy who has, a stout resume. Howie Stern out of Silverton, Colorado, taking the still shots here at the finish line. Looks like those are speed goats right there. Looks like they held up pretty well. We have not yet sighted Bicycle Lady on the streets of Flagstaff. Hoping to see her here real soon. Another moment. I missed this one. Versteeg saying he should have signed up for the 125 instead. I definitely missed that one. Yeah, folks, I love hearing these moments. Like I said, partially because I like reliving them, and also partially because there were 125 hours of race, and I could not possibly have caught them all.
Stephen Crawford is saying Bicycle Lady was on course.
Yes. We got it. We got to get some coverage of Bicycle Lady. Jason Kanan, another one, a great finish to see.
Who was Chris? Who was the three-time finisher who came across the line? Big flex, big celebration. Can you just read the list of runners?
Yeah,
who
it must have
maybe
been
were
one that I
able to
missed because I might not have seen this. So Sarah O, Courtney Boyle, Jeff Garmeyer, Andrew Glaze, Wes Plate, Brian Janzik, Aaron Flesher, and Jose Sosa. It might have been Aaron Fleischer. Aaron Fleischer had a bit of a posse there at the finish. That might have been him. Yeah, he was hanging out with I know that he's pretty tight with Mike McKnight because McKnight was one of the first people to greet him at the finish. They are Wolfpack adjacent, as it were. Shout out to H-Rod Hector Rodriguez, who hopefully will come back next year and conquer the Cocodona, as the week I know did not go his way, hoping that he comes back to get it done. RR Cards fan has definitely been spending a lot of time with us this week, as That's another moment. The race into Whiskey Row that cost me having to do a shot of Fireball.
And I'm being told Bicycle Lady was either not sure if she paced or ran the 36 mile, but Dr. Stephen Crawford saw her at Mount Eldon.
Wow, I didn't know
So
that.
Shout out to her.
Bicycle Fan Lady was actually in the Eldon Crest 36.
Well, she was actually on the race course.
Oh, she was on the race course.
Whether it was as a pacer or as a participant.
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah.
PMS, Perpetual Motion Shad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do believe it was Aaron Fleischer who had the great finish line celebration.
Yeah, Killian Korth, definitely pushed every margin imaginable during this race. It didn't turn out the way he had hoped, obviously. As was shared in the live stream yesterday, he actually had to go and seek medical attention, inpatient medical attention, but from what I understand, he's doing okay now.
We should be getting eyes on some of our
Yeah, if we
next
see
runners.
Bike Lady and we get a moment in the action, a reprieve, then yeah, I think it would be great to have her on for an interview. Yeah, we're down to a select few here, and it looks like even the back of the Packers have hit Buffalo Park. So our sweep is showing that they are actually on that section of the Arizona Trail that leads into Buffalo Park. And yeah, Elizabeth Russ's GPS is showing a little bit further back, but you also, once you click it, you realize that her last ping was 28 minutes ago. So I go with what our sweeper is pinging, and that was just moments ago at mile 245.5. So everybody is within the last 5 miles of this race.
And there could possibly be 2 Eldon Crest runners still out there as well. They don't have
Correct.
live trackers, but there are 2 who registered splits at the Eldon aid station who have not finished, Jennifer Slavich and Jamie Yazzie. Looks like our drone is going back up there.
Oh, that's a great. Again, this is Buffalo Park in the morning, just on the edges, kind of serving as a buffer boundary between Flagstaff proper itself and the wilderness of the San Francisco Peaks. One of the ways you can access trails to Eldon and beyond is through Buffalo Park, this straight stretch right here. I've done it. I'm sure Matt has done it as well. It's a pretty amazing viewpoint.
Yeah, Buffalo Park is just so iconic and such a beautiful place because you've got such amazing views of the surrounding mountain ranges here. You've got access to flat trails. You've got access to mountainous trails and rolling trails. You can kind of get your hands on anything here at Buff Park.
So actually, that is not quite accurate, RR cards. There are not 360 days left until Cocodona 2024. There are 366.
Yep, Cocodona next year will be May 6th through the whatever
11th?
that math is, 11th.
I believe. Yeah, let's allow
May 6th through the 11th, I believe. Registration for those events is open, so
yes,
you can find that link pinned at the top of this YouTube chat if you're interested. That goes for the Cocodona 250, Sedona Canyons 125, and the Eldon Crest 36, and these are rock bottom early bird prices, good until May 15th. So if you're interested, if you've enjoyed everything you've seen here and wanna come and participate, go ahead to the link pinned in the comments to register.
I know we've had a few in the chat that have registered for next year's Cocodona. If you have, let us know. I know that Aid Station Fireball definitely was the first person to register for the Eldon Crest. I know we had Dimitro
Yep.
was also inspired enough to register for the Cocodona itself next year. Yeah, so there are even 30 entrants right now in the Cocodona 2024, including 3 people who have prior finishes. So that's actually pretty cool.
I did get a verbal confirmation while I was down at the finish line yesterday afternoon from Jeff Garmeyer.
Jeff Garmeyer.
He's
So-
coming back, despite having what he said was one of the tougher mental experiences he's ever had to go through.
And I got a verbal from Jeff Browning as well. So up to 32 known names heading into the Cocodona next year. For the Sedona Canyons 125, it looks like we've got 18 entrants. And for the Eldon Crest 36, we've got 16 entrants.
Yeah, Aid Station Fireball
What's cool is that
says only award is getting to trudge through 36 miles of beauty, and you may get some bonus miles in there. Who knows?
that's what I heard. I heard that from a few people. Plus, whether he realizes it or not, he's going to be making his live stream debut here in the Cocodona 2024 studios. One of the other cool things about seeing the Eldon Crest entrant list, there are 16 entrants. Of those 16 entrants, 7 of you do not have ultra sign-up results to this point. So that's actually really cool to see that you're going to make your, I'm assuming, trail/ultra running race debut with us here with Aravaipa Running at Cocodona. We can see, looks like we've got a runner on the trail in Buffalo Park. Now, with Buffalo Park, it's a little bit tricky to determine because it's a public park, and it's a pretty well-trafficked public park and system of trails. We can't be sure that that the runners that we see are in the race, but we've been pretty good at determining that somebody moving at a labored pace with trekking poles is, in all likelihood, a part of the race. I don't know if this person has poles or not. No, it looks like they're just kind of out for a stroll. And also, well, picking up the pace. Maybe this is one of our runners. Oh, there is wearing a pack, it looks like. So, yeah. And it might be a bib down in front, too. We'll keep an eye on. George asking in the chat, how many runners are left? The answer is not many. It looks like we have anywhere from 4 to 6 runners, depending on if we can get confirmation on our Eldon Crest 36 runners that have yet to show as finished or dropped. We have 2 that we're not sure about there, but we have 3 runners left in the Cocodona and 1 in the Sedona Canyons 125.
And we are following more of our runners in here as they come through Buffalo Park. It looks like we will have eyes on more runners on the roads here shortly.
And I'm sure that it's not an uncommon sight to have runners coming in off of that section of Buffalo Park where that's an access point to the Arizona Trail. So if people want to get service for some reason in the town of Flagstaff, that they can do so. Looks like this runner is stopping to utilize their phone. Do we have a water station set up at Buffalo Park, or is this something that somebody else set up?
Someone has a water station at Buffalo Park.
Yeah.
I wonder if this runner is texting friends and family or in the YouTube live chat.
That's a good question. Somebody was asking who this runner is. I'm not sure, but I'm believing it would be either Jenny Dolak or Elizabeth Russ. Not quite sure about that.
We do have eyes on some other finishers. We'll see if we can get that gimbal elbow kind of panned out of the shot here.
I believe that's the Melissa follow cam. Yeah, Melissa
Yep.
can adjust her gimbal, and we'll also determine who this runner is.
Jason
as well.
is saying, Jason, our drone pilot, is saying that there's a 5K, 10K up at Buffalo Park.
Oh, wow.
So that would be what the water drop is, and our runner took off there at Buffalo Park. Our drone still following, but we are locked in. So we have runners coming down from the hospital. And
So
I don't
it's-
think we're going to be able to see a bib here.
But it does sound like that's Sean
Yeah,
Barnes.
that looks like Sean Barnes because from the little bottom bit you can see, it looks more like a Cocodona bib than a Sedona Canyons bib.
Yeah. It's either Sean Barnes or Benjamin Kuhn. I'm thinking it's Sean Barnes.
Yeah, I would agree there. And again, we do have eyes on some of our other runners coming through Buffalo Park.
So Sean Barnes did fill out our runner survey. I can tell you about him a little bit. Sean Barnes grew up in Arizona, now lives in Idaho. What inspired him to run this race? He's doing it as a 50th birthday gift to himself. He's been a triathlete for 10 years, working towards Kona qualification, but Ironman made some drastic changes in November that made him switch to ultras.
Love it.
What's the furthest distance he's run before? 100 miles. What section of the course is he most excited for? Aid stations and food. Shout out to Pete's Meats at the top of Eldon. And any fun facts, unique facts about himself that he'd be comfortable with sharing on the live stream. He says he hates running, but he keeps trying to love it. I don't know if this week would make a marked difference in his feelings towards running in general. I hope that he enjoyed his journey, his odyssey across the state of Arizona. But yeah, congratulations to Sean Barnes, who is just moments away from finishing his Cocodona 250. Sean Barnes looks like he's run a few ultras, but nothing, like we said, 100-miler, and that would be the longest prior to this. Lucky Sean. Sean got into Canyon de Chelly this year.
Nice.
That's a hard race to get into. It's a very limited. Canyon de Chelly takes place in the Navajo Reservation of Northeast Arizona. Absolutely stunning area. If you've never seen Canyon de Chelly, check it out. Check pictures out online. Spelling Chelly. It's Canyon de. It looks like Canyon de Chelly. Chelly. But the most notable land formation in Canyon de Chelly is Spider Rock, a spire that comes out of the valley, I believe 800 feet from the base of the canyon floor. I took my son there a few years ago, and just amazing. Have you gotten a chance to get there, Matt?
I haven't.
I highly recommend it as a weekend trip with the fam. It's pretty easy to get to here from Flag, probably about 2.5 hours out on the Navajo Reservation, but a very inspiring place in terms of physical geography. As we mentioned, though, 161 in the race itself, and they had to close the wait list at 355. So, yeah, Canyon de Chelly is truly an amazing place to behold. So, yeah, I'm, you know, it's a race that I've never gotten into, and I don't know if I'll ever get into, but that is on the horizon for our current runner that we're following here at the Cocodona 250, Sean Barnes. But, of course, he's got to take care of these last few miles here on the course.
Yeah, just moving forward.
Relentless forward progress. Absolutely.
That's what the kids say.
Yes. I wouldn't know what the kids say because I'm old, but Aaron Schmidt sharing in the chat, kind of flexing that he ran Canyon de Chelly in 2016. Must be nice. You must know people. Sean hitting Beaver Liquors at the corner here. Just a few short blocks to go.
Yeah, and to give a little perspective on the runners behind Sean here, Ben and Rebecca are running the race together.
Oh.
Rebecca signed up for the 250. Ben signed up for the 125, and kind of waited on her to run together.
I was going to say,
I believe they are.
Did Rebecca get to Jerome and wait for Ben, or did Ben wait at Jerome for Rebecca?
They are a couple. So,
oh,
yeah. My guess would be that Ben. That's actually I don't know. I'll see when Rebecca came through Jerome, but that's probably where Ben would have waited if he had to wait. Maybe if Aid Station Fireball is still in the chat, he can let us know.
Looks like we actually have multiple follow cams with activity. We'll see if we can.
Yeah, and the Shad cam looks like he's got Ben and Melissa.
Yeah, that right there is.
Or Ben and Rebecca, I apologize.
Ben Kuhn.
We were just on the Melissa cam.
Yeah. Benjamin Kuhn and Rebecca Walker. As we mentioned, Ben in the 125, Rebecca in the 250.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That level of coordination for a race like this is pretty impressive. That is absolutely. So Ben waited for Rebecca, Aaron Schmidt is telling us in the chat. I like when Aaron's on race command. So much better than Noah. Noah out here catching strays on this Saturday morning.
Yes.
Wait a minute. You're multi-screening, Liam? You're not paying exclusive attention to the Cocodona 250 as if he's got other things going on? Is he watching, like, maybe a replay of AEW last night or SmackDown?
My legs wouldn't feel that fresh after 250 miles. My legs don't even feel that fresh after 60 miles. Yeah. Yeah.
Noah meat bus again.
Again.
And we will be bouncing back and forth here between our follow cams. And this is Sean Barnes, Boise, Idaho. It looks like we are now just awaiting two more 250 finishers and 2 potential Eldon Crest finishers still.
Yeah, it's a good thing we hopped on a little bit early this morning.
Liam's also watching the Transvolcania live stream and Breakneck Point. So shout out to both those races.
The AEW replay is later this morning, he clarified. Man, I can't even keep up with everything that we've got going on here. You know, Aid Station Fireball is fully aware of everything that's going on. He's like Tony Stark with those, holographic monitors and everything. Them newfangled computer type things. Oh, yeah, TJ Gardner in the chat talking about Rebecca and Ben. Worst date ever. It just kept going and going.
Oh.
Yeah, if you can tolerate somebody for 125 miles, I assume things are probably going to work out pretty well.
And we will, again, this here is Sean Barnes. We do have Benjamin Kuhn and Rebecca Walker. Benjamin going to be our final Sedona Canyons 125 finisher. Rebecca going to be a Cocodona 250 finisher. As is Sean Barnes.
And, our final runners have hit Buffalo Park, Elizabeth Russ and Jenny Dolak. So, we're going to probably have the entire, based on where the pacer is, I would say by 8:30 at latest, we're probably going to see everybody in, which is the way things kind of wrapped up in the 2021 version when Andre Lee was the final finisher with about an hour and 20 minutes to spare.
It's just something about this course, Chris. Doesn't you don't need the full 125 maybe.
That's true. I mean, I hope that these last few runners feel like they got their time's worth out on the course.
Yeah.
They didn't short themselves out by finishing faster.
They're doing so awesome out here. And here we're back with Rebecca and Benjamin Kuhn. Benjamin Kuhn and Rebecca Walker here.
You don't want to go back up.
Tyler, is that a joke or is that for reals?
What's that?
Have to let us know. Joe, I said their honeymoon was Moab 240. I mean, that sounds crazy, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. Not at all. Yeah, Boomer, we're gonna miss this as well. As exhausting as this can be, it's still a lot of fun every year to do this Cocodona coverage. Sean Barnes hitting Dale Street, 2 blocks away from taking a left hand onto Birch. Oh, I guess Tyler is saying that's for real. So Ben and Rebecca did the Moab 240 as a honeymoon. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's amazing. And again, we are currently following in Sean Barnes as he is now just a block away from the left-hand turn onto Birch. We also have eyes on Benjamin Kuhn and Rebecca Walker here as they're making their way down. But for right now, we're going to keep it on Sean Barnes.
Sean passing the last building before he makes that left-hand turn onto Birch Street.
Yeah, shout out to the National Bank. Can't read the rest of the sign. I can't remember what bank it actually is, but shout out to them for, being the landmark on the left-hand side of the road that runners are going to turn at.
Yeah, there's a couple of landmarks there. Speaking of landmarks, there was one that I did, of course, Uptown.
And we've got some running here. Wanted to just switch back here to Benjamin Kuhn and Rebecca Walker for a minute, but we want to make sure that we're following Sean Barnes
and
in here.
Left on Birch is completed, heading down to LaRue. So yeah, Uptown Pub House, one of our sponsors here at the Cocodona 250.
Owned by Allie J.
That's what I was going to say.
Her husband, I believe.
We saw Allie J cross the finish line last night, Colleen Lingley and I. And I was starting to say, so of course, if Colleen and her husband own Uptown, they can basically head around the corner and head over there. And Colleen's response was, yeah, to go to work.
Yeah.
And I said, no, to have a drink, to relax.
Yeah. It looks like we maybe lost the Melissa cam there.
Hopefully we can get a refresh there.
Yep, otherwise I am going to keep it locked on the finish line just so that we don't miss the finish.
That's an assemblage of talent right there.
Yeah, you would be correct.
Scott Rokas and Howie Stern probably account for a few dozen Ultra Running magazine covers.
And on the Shad Cam, we do have Ben Coons and Rebecca Walker running really strong in, but I don't want to miss a finisher here, so we're going to keep it locked to the finish line here. We lost our follow cam, but we will not miss the finish.
Here we go. We have eyes on
Sean Barnes coming down
Sean.
Cocodona Alley here.
Smells the Barnes. That was like the most awful Bermanism that I've come up with yet. Howie Stern getting down there to take that shot of Sean as he crosses the finish line.
He's just steps away at this point. An amazing, amazing run here from Sean Barnes, Boise, Idaho's own. What a moment. And we are going to send it back to the Shad Cam here as we've got Benjamin Coons and Rebecca Walker about to make the left-hand turn onto Birch. They were running really strong down the hill there just now.
Yeah. Only got a block and a half to go now.
They make their left-hand turn. Picking it up. So, Matt, at your eventual Cocodona finish, are you going to pick up a jog like this to make sure that Howie captures you looking strong, or are you going to just basically walk it in like I would and say, I left it all out there. The raw footage of me crossing the finish line isn't something I need to pick up for.
No, Chris, I think my only goal in the finish of my Cocodona 250 would be to drop Shad. I am from the hospital home. I'm absolutely sending it.
Yeah, you know what? Depending on the way that Shad is working up miles and getting faster, you better be prepared to bring it because Shad is getting faster and faster with each passing year. This year, he was keeping up with the lead pack of the Eldon Crest 36 race at the end rather.
And I just want to take a look at this shot here. It's a little grainy. Jamil's working on trying to get us another vantage point of the finish line here. But for right now, we've got Rebecca Walker and Ben Kuhn coming in to the finish line here. Amazing.
That is Ben Kuhn and Rebecca Walker. They shared the final 125 miles of this race together as Rebecca was in the Cocodona 250 and Ben was in the Sonoma Canyons 125. Just another day in the park for them as they ran Moab 240 a little while ago as a honeymoon. So, they seem to get along well enough to spend several hundred miles together on the trail. So congratulations to them. Getting that finish line photo. Gonna love to flip through the befores and afters as the photographers are putting them together. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has dropped Shad at the finish yet. Even the front of the Packers and Eldon Crest, he was hanging with them.
Just saying, Chris. That's all I'd be thinking about as I'm finishing is how hard could we send it from the hospital?
Oh, I'm sure. That is
And I did get report from our drone pilot who was up at Buffalo Park that our final runners were through Buffalo Park, and the final runner passed him running. And he's stationed in the parking lot. So
yeah, they're on the streets of Flagstaff now.
Yeah, I know that trackers are maybe taking a little bit of time to update here, but should be seeing having eyes on our final runners soon. We still haven't seen any other Eldon Crest runners come through, and actually it looks like so those two the two remaining Eldon Crest runners that we were on the live tracking, they are no longer there. So I'm guessing they were maybe drops at some point, or that
looks
that
like
had happened, or I'm not sure, but they're
at Eldon. Yeah, I can see that they made it to Eldon, but did not leave Eldon on the course. Looks like they may have been transported back to the finish.
Well, actually, yeah. Yep, that's what it shows here. I wonder if they dropped at Eldon or if they're, who knows. But yeah, it looks like they are out of the race, so we do just have our last two Cocodona 250 runners to finish, and they should be making their way down from Buffalo Park.
Thanks to everybody who has been hanging with us on the live stream here this year. The reason why we do this is because we have people that are following these events. We're happy to bring them to you. So thanks for being with us here this week. If you're interested in being with us next year at Cocodona, Registration has opened. The link is at the top of the chat. As Matt has mentioned earlier, special, basically opening day pricing, so to speak, that's going to last through May 15th. And so if you're interested and want to commit to something absolutely awesome and crazy at the same time for 2024, and you want to hear us do our best to give you your props as you deserve when you cross the finish line, you can register at the top of the chat. Shad going to be researching every runner in next year's race, checking their PR for the 1 mile.
Yeah. Classic.
Shad, we need a training montage for him, like set to take it to the limit.
I think we need some form of a Shad shirt. Maybe it's like a play on Stop Pre or Stop Jim, Stop Shad.
Love it. Love it. Think about all the merchandising opportunities we have now that Cocodona has become such a well-received, and followed race. I mean,
I could just imagine live stream viewers, in these final days, sitting at their TV or computer with their Stop Shad shirt on, with the bright white shirt, bright red stop sign, Stop Shad.
And that's why, I mean, I do love the runners, and I love following, and their stories are going to stick with me forever. I can still name off chapter and verse the final finishers of the race the last few years, but the course itself, the Cocodona event itself, creates characters, creates people who have now etched themselves into the race's lore, such as our puffy blue jacket guy, hanging out at the corner for probably 30 hours this week, maybe more. Shad, with his follow cam, left on Birch. These are things that Cocodona Alley, it's the runners are amazing, but it's so much more than that. And love celebrating just how much this race brings to us as a community.
Clinton Fry in the chat, quote, "I race Shad to the gates of justice."
That's perfect for like a finisher's
That should be like a finisher's tee. Like, you should get a participant tee, but if you finish like in the top or in the back 10 of any of the races, you get a "I race Shad to the gates of justice" shirt.
Yeah, I'm hoping that sticks, but I don't know if it's really gonna stick around. I believe that was I think that might be with the coffee there in the front view. That might be Harley Guy, who finished last night.
Nice. I think that we should create shirts next year for all of our DFL finishers that just says "unsweepable."
That's fantastic too. That's actually really good. Cocodona bingo. Better Cocodona bingo than a drinking game, Mandy, because we don't want to be responsible for any self-induced damage.
Yeah, we can't be held liable for
if you were to say drink every time Matt says iconic or every time Chris says absolutely.
I'm going to study the dictionary for next year so that I can have an array of terms.
Yeah, a video montage at the end of the final stream. That might be a quick turnaround time, but I have no doubt that there is going to be some excellent recapped coverage, not only by Aravaipa, but some of the people who were out on the race.
And we do have eyes on one of our final finishers here. We'll see if Megan can get us a bib number at some point. But that is either going to be... That looks like it is Jenny Dolick.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which means we are just trying to get eyes on Elizabeth Russ. But that is Jenny Dolick.
The unsweepable Jenny Dolick.
Unsweepable. We're going to have to make that a thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just for Cocodona, but think about like all of the ultras that we're privy to.
I'm gonna just pitch this idea live on air. A documentary, and this is the documentary idea isn't necessarily my idea. Dylan Harris has had this idea before, but a documentary about back of the pack runners at Cocodona and it's titled Unsweepable.
Love it. Well, you got if an authority such as Chasing Cutoffs podcast seems on board with the term unsweepable. I mean, you want to talk about somebody who knows and has talked to people who have encountered with and spent many times with sweeps. For Chasing Cutoffs podcast to seem to be on board, you've hit something special right there.
I do what I can, Chris. I should work in marketing. It's amazing to see Jenny still running so strong here. In no danger of any time constraints here. She can soak in every single moment she wants.
Yeah, I mean, she's got 3 hours to make it to the finish and roughly 3 blocks to get there.
She could sit and have a picnic if she wanted. You know?
And I see she actually just passed Shad on the other direction.
Yeah, Shad is likely looking for Elizabeth Russ, who is going to be probably shortly behind Jenny, and is looking like she's going to be our final finisher here.
Yeah, we definitely need to do this unsweepable in the same kind of print that the logo for M. Night Shyamalan's movie Unbreakable came in.
What was the name of the Western film? There's an ultra running film called Unbreakable.
Yeah, but I don't know
so you went to this.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that I don't know what the what it would look like in a shirt. I mean, I'm going with something that people might recognize a little bit more. Like I couldn't tell you what the letterboxing for the Unbreakable Western States film looks like.
We just match the text only. We're gonna make it happen. Bryce, don't let me forget this idea. Cool Hand Bryce is in the studio here. He was gonna take over at 7 here, but and I got your mic on for you, Bryce. But now that we're nearing done, and Shad has eyes on our final finisher, and she's moving well.
Yeah.
Also, and that is Elizabeth Russ. So we got both our runners coming in here. We just saw Jenny Dolick passing Beaver Liquors there.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be an early finish here at Cocodona with how everybody is moving so well. These runners, I'm sorry?
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Are we looking at Elizabeth Russ right here?
Nope, that's
Jenny
Dolick.
Dolan.
Okay, got
Elizabeth Russ is right here. Also coming down Beaver Street.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh,
So our final runners are both on Beaver Street here.
That's awesome. That nap must have helped.
Well, I mean, you would think that if she's napping and waking up that late, that she probably felt pretty good that she could get from Walnut Canyon to the finish in the allotted time, right? Otherwise, you're probably trying to just get what sleep you can and getting right back out to save as much time as possible. So I'm assuming that, she wasn't the last person into the aid station, so I'm assuming that she felt like the rest would allow her to not have many problems getting to the finish. And this is Jenny Dolick, but again, both of these women looking so strong. They're
As we pass Beaver Street Liquors for the final time in the Cocodona
for
2023.
Elizabeth Russ. Yeah, last time you're gonna see Beaver Liquors here on the Cocodona live stream. This is amazing. These women are separated by like a couple blocks as the final finishers.
Yeah, I hope that people that were looking to go out there and cheer in the final runners have made their way down to Heritage Square because, frankly, everything happened so early, so fast this year. I mean,
It did. Was the course too easy this year, Chris?
oh, don't let Jamil hear that.
I'm just kidding. This is amazing to see this. Both of these women just absolutely crushing it. We are currently looking at Elizabeth Russ. In front of her here is Jenny Dolick, who's just a couple blocks away from the left-hand turn on Birch. I wonder if we may see, are we going to see a pass?
Oh, boy. Man, that would be just so weird at this point.
Or like the opposite, like a purposeful slowdown to get the DFL.
Well, if we had unsweepable shirts, then that would probably be the case.
Thank you, Naomi, for the generous Super Chat donation.
And a huge shout out to everyone who's tuned in. Obviously, if no one watches these live streams, we wouldn't be doing them year over year. So we appreciate, all of you tuning in, and hanging out with us.
Our coverage, we try to make it more and more complete and robust every year, and with every passing live stream.
This is Jenny Dolek. And we do have eyes on Elizabeth Russ, who is currently our last place finisher. And it looks like we may have a little jam cam heading out to keep eyes on the race as well. So it's going to be an annual tradition, I think.
I remember very vividly Jamil directing traffic at the finish when Stephen Park came in and called it a day. But yeah, I think that we are a little bit choppy here at the moment, but we need to there's Jamil on.
Yeah, we'll have Jamil keep his cam on Jenny Dolek if he can there.
That's a flat-out run right there.
Yeah, oh man, she is moving. And just a few blocks behind her is Elizabeth Russ.
April, thanks for the generous Super Chat donation. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, this week, because, as we mentioned, we have a lot of fun doing this. Jenny Dolek looking like she's basically, in a 5K right now.
Wow.
She is running so strong.
Look at that stride.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody woke up early enough to catch these final finishers. I hope there wasn't somebody that had too much of a late night last night and is going to wake up around 9:30 Arizona time and be like, oh man, I missed it. But you can always come back and watch us later, because that Cocodona live stream is going to be available for you to review. And it looks like...
Yep, the left-hand turn on Birch. We've got this beautiful shot from Jamil in front. Let me get the audio in here as well. Oh, it looks like we're not... Oh, we are getting audio from Jamil.
Clinton, thanks for the Super Chat donation, and thank you for sticking with us for so long here. Appreciate you hanging out with us this week.
You can see in the shadow Jamil running. We got Jenny Dolek, our second to last finisher, now just a half block away from making the turn down Cocodona Alley. Here she goes. What a strong finish.
Jenny Dolek. Oh, wow, a crowd has gathered.
Amazing.
Congratulations to Jenny Dolek. Great job out there. Gotta be having an amazing, feeling, an amazing sensation right now.
And we'll send it right back to this scene in just a second. I want to make sure that we get our final finisher coming in, Elizabeth Russ from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. She is at the National Bank of Arizona, which marks the left-hand turn onto Birch Street.
We are 2 hours and 50 minutes away from the cutoff. These runners have absolutely torched the back end of the course. No worries about sweeps being, tasked with the unfortunate situation where they have to let a runner know that that they're not going to make it. I mean, the back end of this this race has been unreal. Are we able to get audio in the Shad cam, perhaps?
Yep.
And I'm sure.
Looks like maybe we don't have any audio coming in right now. But that is okay. We've got a crisp video, which is the most important thing.
Yep.
As she makes her final street crossing here in the Cocodona 250.
Matt, we've done our last iconic left for the year as well.
I know.
And now we have our final finisher here, Elizabeth Ross, getting ready to make that final right hand.
And it looks like when she turns down the alley, we're going to have maybe Jamil following her in here. Nope. Jamil might be filming. And there we go. And let's just take a look at the scene from above. Incredible shot here.
I just got
our final finisher,
those chills all
Elizabeth
over again.
Russ here, capping off the 2023 Cocodona 250. She is, in fact, unsweepable.
That's fantastic. I mean, I just got those goosebumps all over again. Shout out to Elizabeth Russ for being able to make it to the end of this race. And like we said, these runners still had another 2 hours and 43 minutes to finish this race. They didn't need it. They didn't need anything close to that. Finishing a full 2 hours and 45 minutes ahead of the cutoff. Everybody who made it to out of Mount Eldon, Fort Tuthill. I'm amazed. I cannot believe this, Matt. I think that's the thing that really strikes me most here is that we expected to be on until the waning moments, like around 10 a.m. But we've got our race is over. An absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, such
everybody.
An incredible scene. And let me throw it back to Jason here, who he saw the final runners pass him at Buffalo Park, packed up his stuff, hightailed it down here to get us this aerial shot of the finish line of the Cocodona 250, the Sedona Canyon 125, and the Eldon Crest 36. Just such an iconic finish location here for these races, culminating these incredible journeys in the heart of one of the most iconic and legendary high-altitude endurance towns in the world in Flagstaff, Arizona. What a scene.
Sounds like Andre Lee is down presenting the DFL award.
I love it.
Let's see if we can find that. I think he already presented it.
Looks like she...
You can see Elizabeth Russ, getting the accolades that she has so richly deserved for being the final finisher of the Cocodona 250. I see race director Stephen Adderholt off to the left there. I was talking with people last night who were interested in coming up to Flagstaff from the Valley, and I told them, normally the golden hour is going to begin at 9 a.m. I told them, I said, you better get here by 7 because, and even then you would have only seen the last couple finishers because everybody was moving so well.
Yeah, it's just been incredible to see how strong all these runners have been, the entire week.
So to recap our, our back end, our DFL podium, third to last in the Cocodona 250 was Rebecca Walker, who came in with her partner Ben Kuhn, who was the DFL for Sedona Canyons 125. Jenny Dolick, our second to last finisher, only finished ahead of our DFL Elizabeth Russ by about a minute. Hey Kelly, thanks for being a part of the coverage. You have to take credit for that as well. You were in here, I believe that was Wednesday morning. She was here in the studio helping with the coverage. Did a great job. You can see the photographers, Scott Rokas, Steve Adderholt, Howie Stern.
I think they're trying to teach Steve how to use a camera here.
So my guess is
Pretty
that
good.
Steve is using Elizabeth's camera, and then trying to and Howie is like doing the whole shot behind the shot thing there.
And sorry to interrupt here, Chris. Stephen Park, last year's DFL
Yes.
finisher, says, "Someone at the finish line, please wish Elizabeth my best as she joins Andre and I on the prestigious DFL podium. Wish I was there to present it to you. You are awesome."
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Stephen Park, and huge shout out to Elizabeth Russ.
Yeah.
For she didn't leave us as much anxiety-filled drama as Mr. Park did last year, but they all got it done nonetheless, and I'm sure had the experience of a lifetime.
They did, and it's the experience of a lifetime every year for us to be able to witness and be a part of covering a race such as this. I mean, it's the. I think that it's safe to say it's the longest trail race covered in the United States, and definitely the longest to be covered this extensively. And to be a part of this coverage, which is something that Jamil and Aravaipa have made a priority. We love bringing this to everybody. You can see the DFL award that was presented to her by the inaugural year's DFL Andre Lee.
I'm a little bit late on the stream here. I think my view's delayed, but I just saw Scott Rokas and Howie Stern give each other a little congratulations as well. So shout out to all those photographers.
Yeah, they've been working hard this week. I actually I talked with Scott a little bit last night at the finish line, and Bryce, when you were out filming the very lead of the pack on Monday morning, I saw that we happened to pass Scott Rokas on the trail because I could see it in the drone in the background, and I was asking him about that last night, and he was kind of like, having to, because the race starts at 5 a.m., slightly before sunrise, he had to go further out on the trail to get the better lighting, because if he was going to catch the runners at, 5:10, 5:15 a.m., he had to get to a point where the lighting was, something that he found acceptable. So he had to go further out by like another 20 or 30 minutes in order to get where he wanted to. And he said even then, by that point, the runners were still moving so well that he was moving as he was taking the photos, like continually adjusting where he was at on the trail. And that was 5 days ago on Monday. So, Scott Rokas, Howie Stern, and who was our other photographer as well?
Anastasia.
Yep.
Yeah. So all of you, congratulations and thank you. Cannot wait to see what the art that comes out of this is. And, I'm sure that there will be a collection of indelible moments that are captured for all time with what they do. And I tell people, like, we call it and we see it, but the artists that are able to, capture moments, frozen moments in time, do something that I can't help but be impressed by. Jason, thank you for the generous Super Chat donation. We appreciate it. Browning and Mortimer's Cow as well. Thank you so much. And Alejandra as well. Thank you to all of you. We're just hanging out here at the finish line. You can see Jamil Curry in front and center. This, of course, was his brainchild, something that he cooked up several years ago, because I heard about it first in 2018 over drinks at the now defunct Rum Bar in Silverton, Colorado. And he was telling me about this race that he had a crazy vision for, and it became Cocodona. So hats off to Jamil. He doesn't usually like to take flowers, so we have to do it when he's not around and can't hear us immediately. But his vision made all of this possible. And Cocodona continues to grow. This was the inaugural year of two additional distances, the Sedona Canyon's 125, and the Eldon Crest 36. So we're grateful to have all of these runners that are willing to join us. Take one last peek to see what our registration numbers are like for next year. Going into full, what do they say, go full telethon mode?
Yep, full telethon mode. Why not?
We have 30 entrants registered for the Cocodona 250 next year, and also 2 verbals from guys named Jeff. We have 20 entrants for the Eldon Crest or Sedona Canyon's 125, and 16 entrants as of yet in the Eldon Crest 36. The cheapest prices that they will have available for this will be on the website. You can click the link at the top of the chat, and you have until May 15th to take advantage of the lowest prices available for 2024's races.
And we're up to 66 total participants registered for next year's race. We had 400 registered in total for this year's race, so we are almost 17% of the way towards this year's total already.
It's going to sell out.
It's going to sell out.
It's going to sell out, so you better get on board. Sarah Newberry, thank you for the generous Super Chat donation. Thanks for tuning in with us yet again. And as we see the Shad himself, that is Shad in front of we actually see him as opposed to just hear him. You know,
I can only imagine how his legs currently feel.
Yeah, well, he definitely he put in the work this week. Can't wait to see his Strava. But that's for those that are wondering.
Shad's got to message us the mileage total.
Do we have audio on Shad possibly?
No.
Oh, but yeah, Shad. You know, somebody who has added so much to the coverage of this race. Were it not for him, we wouldn't catch a lot of these stories at the finish line.
So I think just to recap, we need some Stop Shad tees made for next year.
I'm going to write these down. You think I'm joking, but I'm not.
We need some unsweepable T-shirts to go along with the DFL award. And let's see, what else? Oh, we need to make a documentary on the back of the pack runners titled Unsweepable.
I think that having a just a singly produced each year unsweepable shirt would be so cool. Like, you know, if only one person had it or something like that, or maybe the podium only had it. You know, that's
it's a DFL. It's a DFL award.
I think that
one person each year for each race, 3 unique shirts, and then maybe we make a commemorative unsweepable shirt for the viewing audience.
One of a kind. Thank you, George Lind, for the Super Chat donation, and also thank you, Benjamin Gans. Here to register for here's to registering for Cocodona 250. So Benjamin, did Benjamin register just now? Got to check the page.
Yep, gotta.
I'm gonna see if it updates here, because I would love to see that Benjamin entered Cocodona for next year, joining another 30 participants. David, what's the entry cap for the 250 next year? That I do not know.
And it sounds like we may be getting an interview with Elizabeth Russ momentarily.
That would be fantastic.
So we're trying to let her have her moment, and when she's done soaking it all in, we may be able to check in with her for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, of course we want to
wrapping things up here.
We want to make sure that runners are composed enough.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, this is their moment, not ours.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we want them to enjoy every waning second.
I don't have next year's caps, but I can give you this year's capacities, David. This year the capacity for Cocodona was 350, Sedona Canyons was 200, and Eldon Crest was 200 as well. And I know for a fact that we did not hit those marks in any of those races. So hopefully we come closer or hit those numbers for 2024. But I know we're ahead of pace from last year's registration, whenever it was. So. And of course, if you're interested in being out here for Cocodona and don't want to run, we do have the volunteer pages already set up, including the live stream volunteer positions. And
Yep, so anyone who wants to help us, bring this wonderful coverage to the masses, you can head over to our website, aravaiparunning.com, click our volunteer link, and you will see it there.
And just to clarify on that, the requirement is not 40 miles a day, 100 miles a week.
Yeah,
you
don't
have to run
be Shad.
140 miles over the course of the 3 days like Shad to be a live stream volunteer. But you may have to do that in order for us to create a shirt about you.
Yes.
Great coverage from Wes's dad. Thank you very much, HGP. Would that be Wes Played, I'm assuming? I met Wes yesterday. Super guy.
Yeah, I'm guessing the P in the HGP is for plate.
It's entirely reasonable.
I don't know.
can
5.5
see
days in, I'm not 100% sure.
We can take nothing for granted at this point. John Marushak, are you going to run it next year? We're hoping.
Well, he might sign up.
Well, he did sign up this year.
I know.
We'll see if he maybe deferred his entry to 2024. He has connections. So
he does have connections.
Yeah, basically what we're doing right now is we're waiting on Elizabeth Russ, our DFL finisher for Cocodona 250 to hopefully.
It looks like we are going to be joined by the man behind the plan.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Let me see if I can pull him in here. And we are joined by the great Steve Adderholt. Steve, are you able to hear us, buddy?
I don't know if I could just talk for the sake of talking.
I don't know if
I will if you want me to.
they can hear us, but we have Steve on here.
Oh, I can't hear him.
Thank you, Run Joey Run, for the super chat donation. This
Can you mute or
125
something?
definitely has
Are you still on?
A long cutoff. 75 hours for 125 miles is a very unusually high number.
We'll pull Steve off for right now. Once we get that taken care of, then we will.
Sarah asking where Pete and his meets are. I know that they were atop Eldon for a while, but I believe Pete had to leave the meets behind to the rest of his 3 meet goes as he had to travel elsewhere. But Pete was one of those people that I'm going to try and compose my notes here and be ready to pass out the roses, so to speak, to celebrate everybody that we've worked with this week.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a huge shout out to all our volunteers. I think is kind of where it first starts in terms of the live stream at a minimum, but also in terms of all our aid stations and all the crew or all the staff that helps kind of set things up. And then, in terms of the live stream and non-volunteers, all of our drone pilots, so Sean Parker, Q, let's see, Jason Peters, Jamil flew a little bit, and Enzo. And then our commentary team, and it looks like we may have Steve back up. I'm not sure if Steve can hear me. It looks like he can hear me. So not a problem on my end, a problem on Jamil's end, which is nice. Steve, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. I think I'm probably feeling a lot like the runners are feeling, pretty sleep deprived. Yeah, but
and we are
feeling
just
good.
We can't hear you on our end, but that's a me thing. So there, now we've got you, Steve. Our viewing audience could hear you, but we couldn't. How are we feeling now that we finished the race up? 2.5 hours to spare. What are you going to do with that time there, Steve?
I'll probably sleep.
Much deserved. Steve, can you just explain to our viewing audience, maybe what this undertaking looks like on the back end, and maybe what it means to you to see, so much support. These the viewership in the live stream has been incredible. The chat has been lively. What does that mean kind of to you as, someone who spends 12 months out of the year trying to figure out how to safely get runners basically from Phoenix to Flagstaff by foot?
Yeah, I wish that I have been able to watch the live stream over the past few years. I really haven't. Um, it's unfortunate, but I haven't seen any of it, which I know I could go back and watch previous episodes after the fact, but I haven't done that either. But everything I hear from you guys, it's really great. Everybody says great things. I do have to say that it's interesting that you guys are watching kind of what's going on with the runners and what we're setting up and seeing it happen and unfold. But unfortunately, I don't get to see the reverse of that. I wish I could. But I got to say, we've got it. This is a huge group effort. I mean, apart from the folks putting on the live stream, we've got about 45 staff members, 400 volunteers, making this thing come to life and getting our runners to the finish line. And without all of us working together, we couldn't do it. So it's pretty cool to work with a great group of people and make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the big emphases. I don't know if that's a word. Emphases over the week is just like how big of a team it takes to put something like this on. Do you have, Steve, maybe any kind of words of encouragement or anything like that for, maybe some of our live stream viewers who are on the fence currently about whether they want to register for Cocodona, Sedona Canyons, or Eldon Crest next year, since we do have registration open? Any words that can inspire people to hop off the fence and come out to Arizona next year to join us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I could talk about why I think this race is worthwhile. Not only the beauty of this course, but the distance in general, what it provides to a runner, what it teaches a runner, what you go through, and what you experience. I could talk about that. But I guess I want to talk first about maybe what might scare you off is the distance and the challenge. And it's not an easy course at all, but the format, I think it makes it doable for sure. The length of time that you have, we had a couple that came in near the end of the finishers that ran the 125, the Sedona Canyons 125 together, and they approached it like kind of like a through hike. So they took the night off in Sedona. And they went out to dinner. They got a few hours in
That's awesome.
in Sedona of sleep, and then continued the next day and did it together. And I don't think that's typical in ultra running races. You don't have the time that you do in a in this format of a race. So I think it's unique, and I think it makes it so that you can do it even though if things go wrong. And man, what it teaches you and what you learn about yourself and what you can do, it's lessons that you can't get anywhere else. So I think everybody on the planet should do it.
I love it. Chris, do you have any last final questions for Steve before we let him go catch up on some much needed sleep and maybe a little bit of celebration afterwards, which is also much deserved? But do you have any final questions for Steve here?
Yeah, I do. Steve, last year we were down to the wire with several of our final finishers. Stephen Park, Saul Vidrio, Colleen Vidrio. This year, that was definitely not the case. We saw runners leaving some of the final aid station cutoffs up to, I believe that Eldon was about 90 minutes ahead of schedule, and I know that we had one runner leave Walnut Canyon with just 5 minutes to spare, our final finisher, Elizabeth Russ, but that's because she was basically making sure that she got enough sleep and rest to conquer the rest of the race. And everybody came in nearly 3 hours under the gun. Number one, are you surprised by that? And number two is, does that mean you and Jamil are going to have to get back together and add some degrees of difficulty to this race in the second half?
Don't challenge Jamil on that one. No, I don't know that I'm surprised about it. I think we built the cutoffs and the estimations to be based on the first year's course, which is extremely similar to the course that we have now. What's that? She's going to come on. Oh, sweet. Awesome. We're going to get the DFL on here in a minute, which is going to be awesome. But I'll answer this question. So all the aid station timings were built off that first year. Last year, the second year, with the fire and the reroutes, all of that was kind of thrown up in the air a little bit. So yeah, I'm not surprised that things went haywire a little bit with the first runners, the aid station opening times, with the cutoff times, with the last runners coming in. Everything was a little bit different. You can't make everything perfect in 8 days before a race with an 85-mile reroute, and so that kind of was the consequence that came out of that. I'd love to get everybody in before cutoff every year.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Steve, before we let you go and get joined by the wonderful Elizabeth Russ, do you have any just kind of parting words for the viewing audience here?
Yeah, I guess I'm filled with gratitude for all of the staff and volunteers and runners, all the effort that was put out there, all the love that was shown, all the support. If you're out here, I'm sure you're seeing it on the live stream as well, but if you're out here, it's impossible not to feel it, and it lifts your spirits for a little while after this event. It's pretty special. So I guess thanks.
Race Director Steve Adderholt for the Cocodona 250. Thanks, and go get some rest. I know that you've got some cleanup and some debriefing to do, but hopefully you're able to recharge before you start to get your notes and your wits together for the 2024 edition of the Cocodona 250. Steve, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Sweet. Yeah. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Matt.
And there he was. We're going to pull it away for a minute while we wait on the unsweepable Elizabeth Russ to join us here. And once we chat with her, we will kind of wrap things up and call it a day.
Yeah.
And it looks like she is
if you have questions for us, we'd be happy to take a look and see if we can ask them. I don't know how much time we have her for, but we'd like to just get a few words in with her, and if you've got any questions, we'll see if we can pass them along.
Yeah, and we will bring Elizabeth back on here. Elizabeth, how are you doing just moments after being the final finisher of the Cocodona 250?
I'm doing well. I'm exhausted, but I feel really good. Happy to be done.
How did this experience kind of compare to maybe what your expectations were coming into the event?
Well, I DNF'd last year at mile 175, so I kind of knew something to expect, but this year, especially with the first section, was a lot more than I ever anticipated.
So it looked like you might have taken a little bit of extra time at Walnut Canyon. Can you describe your thought process there? Because everybody, including you, had been in and out of Tuthill with plenty of time to spare, but we were a little bit concerned when we saw the clock. But then, in hindsight, it looks like you had a very calculated approach to the final stretch of this race.
I had only slept, I think in total for the race, I've slept an hour, 15 minutes. So most of that sleep was last night. I believe it was last night or early this morning. So that had to happen, or else I don't think I would have finished. So that was definitely calculated to wait till the last second and try to make it.
At what point, during that final push from Walnut Canyon to the finish line, did you kind of start to really know that you kind of had this in the bag and that there was basically no way you were going to miss the time cutoff?
I was probably at the Eldon aid station. I saw how much time was left, and that was strangely comforting. And I actually took a couple of naps on the way down the mountain because I've been so tired. Yeah.
That's a flex right there.
Yeah. The poor sweepers had to watch me sleep. So
Did you have crew or pacers at any point during the race?
I did. My mom was my crew chief, and then I had 2 pacers. One, his name is Abraham. He ran last year and finished. He never met me, and he came out from New York, which was awesome. And then one of my pacers from last year came back.
Amazing. And, we don't want to keep you too long. We want to let you, really soak in your moment. But as you were coming down Beaver Street, you made that left-hand turn on Birch, and then you make the right-hand turn down the alley. What was that moment like when you finally got to see the finish line of the Cocodona 250?
Really special. Really, really special. I stuck around for last year. I paced a guy that was coming in near the end, and I just saw that moment, and that's the whole community. So I really was excited to just be here again for that moment and be done.
Rebecca, I'm sorry, yeah, not Rebecca, but Elizabeth. Now that you're all done and you're able to kind of compose yourself, what's your next meal?
Oh, I have pancakes and eggs lined up right now, but we'll see. Maybe pizza.
Sweet.
I haven't had that yet this week.
I love it. And the last question I have for you, Elizabeth, is, for anyone who's out there, on the fence about whether they want to do the Cocodona 250 or any of the events at the Cocodona, what would you say to maybe encourage or deter, depending on your opinion of the experience, those who are maybe sitting on the fence there?
I would absolutely do it. You'll know people for 5 days and feel like you knew them for life, and that's you just can't get that anywhere else. And I've made so many lifelong friends now through this that I just want to keep coming back.
Actually, that kind of leads into my final question as well. Obviously, you've now conquered the race that that you weren't able to conquer last year. I guess I was going to ask if you were interested in running it next year, but even if you weren't to run it, do you see yourself coming back to be a part of it, whether it be to crew, to pace, to volunteer, or just to spectate? Do you see yourself coming back to the Cocodona in one of those forms?
For sure. Yeah, I'd love to be. I've never actually had to crew for anyone. I have paced before, but I'd love to come and help somebody get to the finish line.
Absolutely love it. Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time. Go celebrate, enjoy the moment, and we appreciate you being the unsweepable of the 2023 Cocodona 250.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I am so on board with the term unsweepable, Matt.
I think it's quite powerful.
It is very powerful.
The chat actually is the reason I think that, because they're gassing it up quite a bit. But huge shout out to Elizabeth, who for giving us a little bit of her time. We greatly appreciate it, and yeah, to have been out there and been and dropped or been kind of timed out at mile 175 last year, to come back on a harder course and to push forward, not really sleeping until Walnut Canyon, reminiscent of some of the inaugural year runners who weren't sleeping until they were getting into Fort Tuthill and beyond. Just amazing to see just like how much courage and fortitude it takes to come back after, not failing, but coming up short of the goals last year, to still have the courage to sign up and come back this year and just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, Matt, I think something you said right there cannot be emphasized enough. This course is hard. No 200-plus mile race is going to be easy, but this year's course harkens back to the inaugural year. Not that last year was easier, but this year's was more difficult in several ways. And for somebody to have come out here last year and run the race and then take on the challenge once again in a much harder environment and then succeed, oh, man, that's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Bryce, do you have any parting words of wisdom for us? You were out on course most of race week, or most of the first few days of race week, Is there maybe any takeaways you have that you might want to share with the viewing audience before we put a bow on things for 2023?
I think I'll be unpacking this for the next week. Like, but no, just to everybody involved, like, you basically can't be around this event without having like your heart and soul in it. Like, it's really special, and to see all the support and from the people like in the town of Flagstaff cheering runners on the street, to the live streamers, to the volunteers, to the pacers. It takes a village, and it's just really cool to see this all unfold in front of us.
Yeah, this is something that I look forward to every year. It is an enormous task to cover this race. It absolutely is. It takes a whole team. I'll be passing out flowers here in just a few moments for, I believe, all of our guests. But, Bryce, you nailed it as well, talking about how, just the magnitude of this is pretty inspiring.
How inspired were you, Bryce, just being out on course throughout the course of the week?
Very significantly. And I'm not committing to anything, but this year has definitely given me some dangerous ideas. So
feeling a little dangerous. I love it. Well, Chris, I'm gonna let you have the moment to pass out the flowers here before we wrap things up. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I want to thank all of the guests that joined us throughout the week. These are the ones that I can remember. It, I hope, is inclusive, but by no means am I trying to discount anybody who joined us on the live stream. We had Kelly Teeslink, Pete Mortimer, Corinne Brown, Andy Jones-Wilkins, Joe Corcione, Allison Mercer, Eric Senseman, Shelby Farrell, Kevin Goldberg, Colleen Lingley, Jeff Browning, and special thanks to our co-hosts who helped hold down the fort during the middays this week, Finn Melanson and Brett Hornick from the Single Track Podcast. This was their first exposure to a race of this magnitude in terms of covering it, and you could tell they were having a blast.
They're hooked.
Oh, absolutely.
They're hooked.
You could already, I think that we definitely need a Hearts of Darkness type of like behind the scenes, filming all over the house to kind of capture those moments, because you could see their enthusiasm as they were off the air talking about and making plans on how they would want to approach this next year, like already making plans.
Yep. And one person I don't want to leave left out. Obviously, huge shout out to Bryce and to all our volunteers, but also to Jamil for trusting us with the keys to the Cadillac, trusting us not to ruin the brand name, to break anything. So just trusting us entirely to, tell the story of the event to the fullest, to tell the story of the runners to the fullest. This is his brainchild, and for him to, be willing to allow us kind of run the show, so to speak, is amazing. So huge shout out to Jamil for letting us kind of be a part of it and help bring this to life.
I think that can't be understated either. I mean, Jamil, if you don't know like how much he brings to this and all Aravaipa events, obviously he is the founder and owner. It's not just about like kind of being in charge. I mean, Jamil steps in wherever it's needed to be done, whether it be flying a drone, whether it be stepping in on our production side, stepping into host. Out on the course, it's not unheard of to see him like stepping in at an aid station for a few minutes, helping to take care of runners. He is fully invested in what he has created at Aravaipa Running, and this is his life, and you see it in every time you like at Heaven 100 last year. One of my people were asking me at the expo, where the hell's Jamil? And I didn't know, and I saw he was overhanging lights over on at the start finish line simply because it needed to be done.
Yep.
So Jamil Curry puts himself in, and that's one of the things that's a blessing and a curse working with Aravaipa, is that Jamil would not ask anything of anybody else that he wouldn't do himself, but the guy would do anything. Yeah. So you end up in situations where you're like, yeah, I'll live stream for 60 hours this week. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, and then one last shout out before we wrap here is a big shout out to you, Chris. Obviously, this live stream wouldn't have been possible without all the time and sweat equity and voice equity that you put into it. Getting up in the mornings before you had to work your actual job. And I know I give you a hard time. Were you actually working? It's debatable. But, getting up early, being on the broadcast here, staying up late, doing everything you can. So everyone in the chat needs to give Chris some heart emojis, send him all the love, because I honestly don't think I would have been able to do this without Chris Warden. So huge shout out to you, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. And shout out to you as well. In terms of how I approach this, I have one mindset, whether it be on the live stream or, conducting our group runs back in Phoenix. I just want to show people how much I enjoy the community and the activities that are contained within. And if somebody can understand that, if I'm conveying that message properly, then I'm doing my job.
That's amazing. Well, for Chris Warden and Bryce Brooks over here, Cool Hand Bryce, I'm Matt Feldick. That's going to do it for the 2023 Cocodona live stream. Woo! Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys